precautions. Cause a party business that it
Welcome to Salon for All and Voice for All Network Television.
Mes salons Fambul dem, on a couché en cabo. It's a message come from United for Saloon in collaboration with Salon for All and Voice for All Network Television. And also from the well-body people them. Charlie,
say, one sick don't come with a call corona. Say, ain't okay if you black or you white, it is spread it all over. So mama, papa, let me take the precautions. Not a party business, that it end is for caution. So number one for the wash you and it's up. Now they touch your nose, now they touch your eyes, and now they touch your mouth. When you sick, now for stay na us. You want cough, now for cover your mouth. You want sneeze, now for cover your nose. Make me help for safe salon. Salon now we on, no place like home. One sick don't come with a call corona. Say, ain't okay if you black or you white, it is plenty all over. So mama, papa, let me take the precautions. Cause a party business that it end is for caution. Say, one sick don't come with a call corona. Say, ain't okay if you black or you white, it is plenty all over. So mama, papa, let me take the precautions. Cause a party business that it
Welcome to Salon for All and Voice for All Network Television.
mes salons Fambul dem, on a couché en cabo. It's a message come from United for Saloon in collaboration with Salon for All and Voice for All Network Television. And also from the well-body people them. Charlie,
say, one sick don't come with a call corona. Say, ain't okay if you black or you white, it is spread it all over. So mama, papa, let me take the precautions. Not a party business, that it end is for caution. So number one for the wash you and it's up. Now they touch your nose, now they touch your eyes, and now they touch your mouth. When you sick, now for stay na us. You want cough, now for cover your mouth. You want sneeze, now for cover your nose. Make me help for safe salon. Salon now we on, no place like home. One sick don't come with a call corona. Say, ain't okay if you black or you white, it is plenty all over. So mama, papa, let me take the precautions. Cause a party business that it end is for caution. Say, one sick don't come with a call corona. Say, ain't okay if you black or you white, it is plenty all over. So mama, papa, let me take the precautions. Cause a party business that it
Welcome to Salon for All and Voice for All Network Television.
mes salons Fambul dem, on a couché en cabo. It's a message come from United for Saloon in collaboration with Salon for All and Voice for All Network Television. And also from the well-body people them. Charlie,
say, one sick don't come with a call corona. Say, ain't okay if you black or you white, it is spread it all over. So mama, papa, let me take the precautions. Not a party business, that it end is for caution. So number one for the wash you and it's up. Now they touch your nose, now they touch your eyes, and now they touch your mouth. When you sick, now for stay.
Greetings, viewers and fellow Sierra Leoneans and beyond the Sierra Leone community. Welcome to Salon for All and Voice for All Network Television. I am your host, Khadija Tsijan Nabe. Today we get a wonderful man of the Republic of Sierra Leone where they doing your itsy bitsy right here and there for make sure say the citizens them gets the things that way they all deserve. Having said that, I did pause for the few we don't know him, make he take this opportunity for introduce himself and the organization where he deserve. Welcome, welcome once again, Mr. Fatomaa.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, it is always a pleasure. Thank you for honoring the invitation. Having said that, I want you shed light for the few we not gonna know about Chadri, what it stands for. Some most of we know, but for the few who don't know, they go give them better understanding of your organization and what team they do. Come back in, sir.
Yeah, China, a social policy advocacy organization. We also the Fed for bridge the equality gap, and access to justice for all Australians, and where they take human rights very seriously. They urge both duty bearers and duty holders to respect human rights. And then also one of them fail to recognize the right of the other, ensure that the victims and get them redress. So we don't work extensively towards that. Unemployment issue, we get over 3 to 600 people that we don't fit for them, benefits, retirement benefits with the employers and both government and private sector. We talk say they not go pay them, but we ensure that say they can get them and people that will be there on low wages that the financial industry, and we ensure that say they're able to get them the wages are up. They work weekend allowance not be there, medical not be there, but we ensure that say all of them when they fix back into place. We also fight corruption. We don't fight institutions like parliament, the judiciary, and other government institutions. When it comes to corruption, we also don't fight against police brutality and social injustice. Against the security agency towards the common civilian, and we always hold government accountable on things that the majority of the country believes it's totally not right, government attitude towards the citizens. So we in like 10 kind of organizations and uh, we find ourselves in a very uncomfortable place.
Wonderful. Well stated. Thank you, sir. From the abbreviation or the acronym, let's further dissect or define for the layman for understand step by step. Campaign, basically, they mean say we they work in an organized and active way towards a particular goal. Human rights, a right that is believed to belong justifiable to every person. Development, improvement in countries' economic and social condition. Improvement in a way of managing an area, natural and human resources. Create within efforts to improve the lives of people or citizens. Now, as the CEO, make we connect such powerful acronyms to the day-to-day activities and lives of Sierra Leonean and Sierra Leone as a whole. If we can utilize the words of we Sierra Leonean musicians them, some say yesterday past better past today, some say today better past yesterday. Now, as the CEO for Chadri, you don't get the opportunity for work with both the yesterday and the today, meaning the then administration and the current administration. Waiting a you take or the how you call them, or what you go consider as the less evil. Furthermore, I want to make you give we audience specific example of recommendation for both administration, whether it's yesterday or today, wherein you give a recommendation and each one of them, who's one of them will take them upon themselves for say, okay, now we live up to the expectation of the recommendation within GUI, or then work at least make efforts towards correcting whatever those concerns were. So come back in, sir.
All right. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
This is a very brilliant thing, and it is a very easy thing for me. I mean, when you look at one of the things we synonymous with multi-union, within hold we the hostage, within hold we for us not to make progress as a nation is corruption. And the corruption yesterday and corruption today, it's visible and it's acceptable. No matter what effort has been done from both administration, because both administration, put emphasis in order to strengthen the anti-corruption commission. You cannot say the previous administration did their best in order to strengthen the anti-corruption commission. They did, and this administration also did not strengthen the anti-corruption commission. But I mean, the reality is that we still have corruption going on from the presidency until calm down. And that was happening yesterday. That happened today. And nobody go with yourself about that because and people working within the presidency always corruption. Ministries always corruptions. And law enforcement agencies always corruption. The judiciary always corruption. And the organizations like we always can blow out the whistle that say corruption there, corruption that happen here, will become the enemy of the state. I was the enemy of the state for the previous government, and for this government again, I'm another enemy of the state again. Me now I'm possible, don't want to let this country out go before. But when you look at the postings, when you look at my words, there is nothing absolutely genuine for condemn this country, let it not go before. I condemn things the way they hold this country to ransom. I condemn things the way people who think that they are in the minority, they can take over us, and just put in one place. And getting the belief that this is our turn, this is our time, allow us to eat and starve others. And when we stand against that, and then that is what? Moving forward, when we talk about the health issue, there was a report in 2016 when we talk about the public health crisis in Sierra Leone. What happened next? The previous administration criticized the report, but then they were able to secure funding for build the now Kiama Road Hospital, were recently opened by this administration. The funding was secure and the building project started by the previous government, and also the Rokupa Government Hospital. That was born out of our advocacy, when we highlight the health, situation. And when you look at the recruitment of doctors, from the previous administration and also this administration, we pulled a report jointly with one of the other UK partners and highlight the challenges of medical doctors the way we get in the country, towards the population. We talk say Salon need up to 23 to 25,000, doctors there. In order for them, we go able for get sufficient doctors that we healthcare centers and we major hospitals across the country. Again, we were lambasted very seriously and heavily. But then we see that the government move on slowly and start, hiring nurses, doctors, more than ever before. And when you come back to this administration, when they declared a state of emergency, we, the one of the organization, we criticize, the chilling effect of always state of emergency. Well, most politicians use that as a pretext, for suppress citizens or neither their opponent. And we talk say if a state of emergency without a regulation is a dangerous, environment, for democracy. And then you have people who lambast us, who are even in the civil society, who are in the government, who said that there is nothing good about this government. Fatomaa say as good in Chadi organization. And just yesterday, the spokesman for NACOVA, they are then responsible for COVID, for the fight against COVID. It talks say this very regulation where they not make it, it undermine the fight against COVID. And that was our strong pillar, that was our strong point. We always raise fundamental issues, but government being uncomfortable with us, they would dismiss us and shamefully later on quietly accept our policy recommendations. you know. And so, I mean, that's the experience of yesterday, that's an experience of today.
So again, let's go back to yesterday and today. You may complain that indeed that corruption exists in both administration. But again, let's visit the question wherein which one you feel saying are less of evil, and when you basically make a recommendation, you give an example of the then government wherein in regards to the Kiama Road hospital, you and I mean make that recommendation and successfully and for the benefit of a country, then live up to expectation down the line. Or it's like we say, government and continuity, whatever it is that they put in place was further executed by the current administration. But when you look at the better pass yesterday, or today better pass yesterday, or yesterday pass or yesterday pass better pass today, which one you could believe say in terms of the corruption or the ongoing issues then where we continue they talk about on a daily day-to-day base, which one you believe say they listen to in our own effort or closer for work towards in our own goal or objective? Come back, Kim.
Like outrightly give you a typical example of the two political parties, and we get don't need to renew democratically. You know, the thing not only beyond politics, it is globally that advocacy organizations like ours will recommend things government through criticism. We can recommend through criticism, and then with that they look at the critic part of it and not looking at the solution part of it. And later on, when they read within the line properly, and they see some of the things that we raise red flag on during the criticism point, and they will come shamefully and implement those issues without giving us credit. We have a lot of track records from both institutions, both administrations, that when it comes to justice issues, when it comes to social policy issues, public policy issues, both government, I mean, they recommend, they will implement the one that we then feel say them very, very comfortable, and wait then things that you get a political capital to them. But then this is all about politics globally. But when it comes to civilian, I mean, when you compare these two political parties, politicians and political party in general, I don't want to only pinpointing on APC as a people, but political parties in these countries, they're deceitful and they deceive the people. They continue dividing us because they know that when we are divided, that is the best time for them to get their own capital and left with bankrupt as a people. Bankrupt in the sense they come to power and control. The time where they want power, they go down to the ghetto, they go down to the slum, tell the people they suffer, but we go elevate this suffering from you, we will take away this from you. But then, after they win or they lost power, they abandon the same people. They don't only abandon the people where they go to, they even abandon their own membership. You see a political party when they lost power, they don't touch base with their membership anymore. It's only when it comes to election they come closer. There is no ideology. They look at things going on. It's the common people who will fight against government. It's civil society, the media who will fight against government. And then what? When things say election one for come closer, those organizations and the media and individuals who were fighting government, they start aligning themselves with those individuals. And when it comes to power as well. They distance themselves from those individuals. They are troublemakers, but they always benefit from that capital. But then, I mean, these are not group of people only feel deceived or feel what, but the very people who vote for these people, the very people when they claim say when they want them vote, I mean, it belongs to us. They are our people. I mean, when SFPP was in opposition, most of their members were brutalized, raped, their offices were attacked, and they were not having a mouthpiece. It was someone for us, who were vocal on independent platform, and due to that, I developed, some kind of hate against, APC, political party. And I was arrested. I was told if I return back to Freetown from UK, we are arrested. I'll be arrested. And that happens to me. I was threatening, that they will kill me, they will do this to me, they will do that to me. But I was stubborn, fighting a cause for to live, not fighting a cause for, a political party or a political party ideology. And then what happened next? When they win, then when they start doing the same thing to APC, attacking APC office, burning down APC offices, and then beating APC members, I stood up again, for who? For the Central Unions. I don't see them as APC. I see them as Sierra Leoneans. And they have right to belong to any political party. They have right to hold their own ideology, who they want to vote for, who they believe in. And they should be free to do that without any hindrance or interference into their own, private or political life. And those who were dismissed at work as well, we stood up for them. Same from APC. And people were saying, look, all the two APC do you, they talk for APC. I said, listen, man, it's not about APC. It's about the people of Australia. Those who are suffering today, they are APC in your mind and in their own mind. But generally, they are Australian. We don't have APC passport. We don't have SAPP passport. We don't have, NGC or whatever political party passport. What we have is Australian passport, Australian national identity card. What we have lost in this country is everybody have to align because I'm from the south. I'm born to be specific. And I went to the same school the president, this current president, goes to. So what's gonna happen? I'm going to praising or support or protect, the ideology. No, I have to call things by the name. If I call things by the name in the previous administration, I have to call the same things in this administration. I'm in a civil society platform. I have to be neutral. I have to respect my own integrity. It comes first than any other thing. And this is what most people miss. And when we're in this position, trust me, we get enemy on both sides. You get the opposition, some people, they're not just like me. You get the other people, they're not just like me. And some people also feel insecure. Oh, maybe you get political ambition, they build up in political ambition, let people they like her. So, I mean, everything about you is negative in most people's mind. Because what you're doing, they are not doing.
I think I love certain things that we use. Most, I'm sure the patriotic Sierra Leoneans will agree with you. Integrity is something we come with a huge price tag. We basically cannot be bought, and it's not something where you go hold cheap. It's something that you have to earn by your work ethic and what you stand for, and standing for the truth shall set you free. And knowing you before even you go down to Sierra Leone, all these years, I know what you stand for, and you continue to make us proud from waiting you just your submission here. It's not about the East, the West, the North, the South, but rather about us being Sierra Leonean. May I say that I salute you on behalf of the patriotic, loving Sierra Leoneans around the world. Thank you for your service. Having said that, make we move forward. Within in a position, Chad, on the criminal libel law, have you made any effort in regards to that?
Um, we we make a push, from the previous administration. We condemn. We organization. We're not only concerned about the Part Five. We're concerned about holistically the entire 1965 public order. Khadija, that document not good for democracy today, not good for democracy tomorrow. That one was built, through the minds of selfish, greedy, and wicked individual. We're monstrous towards human beings. I didn't design that law. If you really police me, they enforce that law to later. Yeah, for them be yeah, it's more than Iraq or Syria, for democracy. So the part five where they clearly tell you say truth not to you defense. Then and the only law will tell you say you are guilty before proven innocent.
Mm.
And where in the reverse universal, you are innocent until proven guilty.
Absolutely.
We don't push for that law for let it come out, in this country. And we be doing sludge, and the Ministry of Information. We've been a part of the working committee. We develop strategies and engage members of parliament. They give you all the hope, all the promise. And these are the other deceitfulness of politicians of this country. We go parliament that day, the stage manage a drama. Oh, we go accept her. Oh, no, we not go accept her. Well, we push and force. We go towards the holiday. When we come out of the holiday, then we go come, and get it done. Guess what? When you go there, COVID come, and then can say don't pass 90 days. And based on the standing order. So that was a blunder and a lack of interest, lack of appetite for remove that law from parliament. The one where they get money over, and when they say these are the pioneer interest, they're not asleep, they're not sit down until that bills go through. So if really they were genuine in their effort for us to get that law outside of our way, we should have get that thing long done. The clerk when are in for the update with members of parliament of pending bills, then we know it is safe hit. The government leader, the government business leader with the parliament, when are in for ensure say all government bills then can at parliament for ensure say them bills and they go through parliament for debate, with the help of the administration when are headed by the clerk. But none of the parliamentary leadership able for show a genuine, honest willingness for sure say we get that monstrous law outside. We're not in people like we're not victim for such a law. And see we have Sierra Leoneans who are who have pending trials, who are currently facing trials, who are currently in detention, who are currently on the police harassment, who are currently subject to intimidations, just the sake of that law. That law make everybody keep quiet, for say the truth. Because this is not the thing where tell you say, even you say the truth, then will come after you, and that truth not to you defense. The law decides that this forbid in public interest. And who determines that public interest? It's somebody who is a judge or a magistrate. And who is a judge or magistrate in this country? Appointed by the system of the day and controlled by the system of the day.
Mm-hmm.
If it was yesterday, it's the same thing. If you woke up today, it's going to be the same thing. And we all know how we govern system structure. Until we say, we have the three arms of government.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, we have the one arm of government.
Absolutely. That was another
The executive control the legislative body, and the executive control the judiciary.
Correct.
The judiciary can authoritatively tell you they cannot control, even develop their own budget. That's an insult. They have to go through the Ministry of Justice and develop their budget under the Ministry of Justice, and the allocations come through the Ministry of Justice. What an insult. This is an independent arm, you know, and supposed to get their own budget, control their own budget. Then there is so much revenue for the government. But then when it comes for allocate money to them, they put them as small people for go take lunch to Nkozi. That's the kind of blatant disrespect. Government in, I mean, administrative in, administrative out. And the sad things, they still don't want to separate this office, the office of the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice. When you get the Attorney General, they're a principal advisor to the executive, the president and a minister. And then if something happens, this same Minister of Justice, now for the common citizen, what's the allegiance the day? It's going to be with
the executive.
The government of the day. And a political party, a political, appointment. When you look at the structure of the Judicial Commission, the Judiciary Commission, when you look at it, I mean, the appointment, it has to done and satisfy the executive. Even the bar association, when they send the representatives, it has to be approved by who? The president.
Wow, interesting.
So if somebody there who is damn crazy against the administration of the day, then the crazy bar administration go there and say, Mr. Man, go and represent us. And the president say, no, and they reject that nomination. When I appoint another person.
Wow.
It has to. So let have it as a law that the bar association nominate people and go straight without the approval of none.
Correct.
Why? The bar, an independent civil society body, a group of professionals who are lawyers, if they come together and form the executive, the executive can able to appoint somebody who knows they will live up to expectations with experience for sitting at such panel. So, but if you bring somebody just because the government of the day not go pleased with that individual, and then they reject her, then definitely the discussion will be, if we send that man, they're not going to say for more, so we'll give somebody in at the own. And even when it comes to the election within the bar, the moment government change, the bar association governance system change. It has to be the one already in the bar today for have to speak with the one the way in at the executive today.
Wow.
That goes for trade unions in this country. The teachers union, motor drivers union, Okada union, keke riders. It's like I was saying to somebody, the Black Lives Matter, the Black Lives of the movement. We can demonstrate, burn down the entire world, but the system, the white folks create around us, and therefore continue for subject we to that slavery mentality. The Zoom today we talk about was not created by a black man. The internet made you to use is an innovation from a white man. The computer made you to use is innovated by a white man. And me and you therefore buy these things for make we use them. And the moment we put money for buyer, we don't empower that man against we.
Become millionaire, yes, absolutely.
So we don't get money, then we remain lesser. Why? Because we want comfortability. And when you see the West, they try for help Africa, they know we problem. They know so we get healthcare facility. They know so we get poor road network facility. They know so we get electricity challenge. They never look for us and say, okay, now we get with money. We work alongside with you. We ensure say we get electricity. We work alongside with you. We ensure say we get adequate a health facility. We build court them for that. So access to justice. But then they give you one small money, they make noise say we help poor people. In the same way, they will ask back for this money. They will give you money. They say this is not a loan, like grant or fee. Then the next thing they say, when GDP look low, so the need for bring account up. Because the economy, the way they don't look fine. We go loan now, we don't pay the debts they own at home. We go loan now, do this. So the money that they give you, they know some problem there. And they go through it, and even the money that they give it, they know they do for solve that problem.
So that's another
So
thing I
when,
want to we come back
so
to
when we
later.
will end up and they go more and more. And
Yes.
here we are as a blind, Africans, we so much believe and celebrate these things
Hmm.
that they're doing us favor. They're doing us good. No, they're not doing us. They're harming us.
Yeah, that's
They're not
another
helping
thing
us.
I want to come back to later, and I'll give some suggestion on that area too, and I go and hear more of you take on that in detail. But before that, Sierra Leoneans want to know if the current state of emergency and the inter-district lockdown is really geared towards fighting COVID-19 or it's been politicized. Furthermore, do you believe that the current parliament is a rubber stamp of the executive?
Um, you know, when you look at we like I tell you in the airplane, when government declares state of emergency, if you go through my Facebook, that very day, 3 months down the line, you will see civil society leaders in this country,
Hmm.
ordinary party people, them go for me, they cost me all kinds of what do you mean? Even when I tell them say freeze, so I therefore come back and break down your interpretation, your literal interpretation of
Hmm.
phrasing of we constitution. So I go further and get interview with the media, television and radio. I say it is dangerous for us to have a state of emergency without guidelines. And the state of emergency will get into a civil war or an international conflict between one country to another. We don't need regulation. But this public health crisis.
Hmm.
So we therefore get regulation will work with the public state of emergency. So if we not get that one day, if now the Ministry of Health say everybody for wear masks, then I deliberately refuse and don't wear masks. What did I may find if that policeman hold me?
Correct.
If I go to
Like
court,
that.
what are the charges against me? But then regulation for not able for stipulate say any citizens will fail or adult or young person and adult. If they fail, they know well marks. Or if you fail for put marks on your picking, you take on a public place. You find 150,000 euros. So
Hmm.
if police hold you or they charge you to court, the lawyer will able for say, you will pay 1,500,
Hmm.
you know. But
Yes.
then we don't have any damn regulation that really guide us as to what to do.
So who is there to blame? The
But
parliamentarians that we sit down and allow that for go through, or maybe they fight towards that, or maybe because you know them in telling say within 3 weeks they're supposed for but that's something I want to go back into more detail later. So
it
who
it,
is to be
it was it
blamed?
was within they gave them 21 days.
Hmm.
And if you read some newspaper in this country, I refer to the office of the Attorney General as a disgrace, towards this country. And disregard, a blatant disregard to we as a citizen. And me, before the president, I don't ask in AG 3 times. I know that in record. That when we will get these regulations. And she continued telling the president and the people of this country that say, then we no worry, we will get on soon. We will get on soon the 3 months, the 90 days, even we've been referred to. So by now, we for not even go back to Parliament if we be getting a regulation. Well, let Parliament review that regulation, whether it fit for purpose for let we continue in this manner. But as of now, it is. It only please one man, in opinion, how for live, how for sleep, how for wake, how for work in this country. It's no less the president of this country.
Wow. So in terms of
I mean, that's what we
yeah,
constitution
finish.
say. I
Hmm.
mean, that's the danger. And but then the recklessness side of this is the politicians that we have We set them up at our hill to represent us as members of parliament. That was just a joke. I mean, these people, they're not serious. I wish they could call me for arrest me for telling say they're not serious. They're not serious. They're not serious in the sense it means that. You have this process you get 21 days, and then they not come back to now. Nobody in the parliamentary leadership, they have the audacity to ask these people to come back and say, why would they disregard we before we electorate them? The people that were saying we now, when they show a blatant disregard to we, towards them. I mean, this they undermine the respect and confidence and trust when somebody for and get in the House of Parliament. No go ever get her. Why? Because you got approved 12 months state of emergency. Then you give 21 days, notice, to somebody say, go do your assignment and come back. Damn. He said he don't share the draft with parliamentary leadership. I mean, that was the AG. He don't share the draft with parliamentary leadership. I asked the parliamentary leadership, some of them I get consultation with them. I asked them.
I think so. We've been get a glitch in the system.
Oh, okay.
Okay, come
maybe
back in.
hacking them.
So, yeah, I know. Is that what's so you're good to go. Come back in, sir. Come back in. Interesting.
He left with
Oh, one
parliament.
second. Wait a second. Hold on.
Yep.
I don't know what's happening there. Hold on, yeah. Wow, interesting. Okay, we apologize. We get a glitch in the system, but I hope saying that we loud and clear. Come back in, sir.
Yeah, like Chabele say, I mean, high time we get for be serious as a nation. And if we get for be serious, those who consider, those who we consider as our representatives, in the House of Parliament, I mean, they never stop this joke.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a joke.
So when
you did it for oversight and scrutinize, such a recklessness. I mean, give them 21 days and somebody defy you 21 days notice. Why you not write a person for come back to Parliament? Why you not sanction, the executive? That now, we give an assignment when I'm not doing. Then now that they say when people there, so then we'll approve them so that they will go work. If we're not going to do that, we're not going to do this. And then the president knows exactly. Some of the people where they put for let them work in the public interest, they're not working. And our parliament, who is representing the people, are angry, are annoyed, about some lazy people who don't want to do nothing. Yeah. Absolutely. But subject us to human rights abuse. Subject us, to so many human rights violations. Because now, with freedom of movement is restricted. Some people want to go to the villages. They have to write to some people and explain to them why they want to go. And if they are not satisfied, they're not going to grant them. And business women and men who daily survivors were earned traveling to Freetown and back to the different agricultural villages. I mean, they have been starving.
So now,
with no action, indefinitely.
We
are living the indefinite 12 months.
Wow.
Restriction of now at the top at the moment. I mean, the law where currently there, it give the president the order of security, the order for can arrest me from my home and keep me in Nigeria as how long as they want me for there, without even seeing a judge. Or even my lawyer will get access. That's the chilling effect of state of emergency. And people don't know when we can talk about these things with human rights practitioners that say this is dangerous, it's not good
for
any civilized society.
Yeah,
the advanced country when they declare state of emergency, it goes alongside with guidelines.
Absolutely. For we were not to understand maybe the in total of the laws of Sierra Leone, the Attorney General, it gets more power over the parliamentarian. Is that what I'm getting here, or not necessarily? Or is it supposed to be the opposite? Can you hear me, Mr. Fatomaa? Okay, it seems like we get another glitch again. Hey. Mr. Fatomaa? Oh my goodness. And I welcome back. We'll continue for take a quick break while they enjoy the tune. Then we'll come right back. And I thank you for your understanding.
of lovers holding hands in sweet romance all around the world. And to every boy and girl here today, join me in this happy song. Just dance away. People young and old, sing your songs untold. Till someone comes along, get it on, just get it on. Let me hear you say, somewhere today, somewhere you will find love that stays. Let me hear you sing, somewhere today, somewhere you will find love that stays. Say what they make you find so, I find so. Ma chérie, elle est belle, elle est belle.
All right, Tina, welcome back. And sorry, and Tina knows on Sunday the system can get glitch somehow, but that's hence the reason why we take a quick break and bring back with wonderful Mr. Fatomaa. Go back and learn to say stop, sir. Welcome back.
All right.
You're
Thank you for having me.
welcome always. Yeah. So go ahead. I know so we've been discuss on one or two significant points then with the
Yeah,
parliamentarians them.
yeah. I think that you asked me,
Yeah.
a question
Yes.
with definitely
But they
a
talk about
report.
the Attorney General versus the parliamentarian them. In terms of with law for we will not know how much, who that gets more hedge over the other. The parliamentarian, people will assume, but the Attorney General, so you educate me, sir. Come back in on that.
All right. The Attorney General belongs to the executive arm of government,
Okay.
and in responsibility and for give legal advice to government and take responsibility, for all legal matters
Okay.
in which the states will get interest in, and also, I mean, it get the power on behalf of the government for prosecute criminal matters and for or on behalf of government.
Okay.
They have, I mean, develop legislations for government.
Okay.
And they draft the bill them, the laws them, and take them to parliament. In parliament now, they scrutiny the laws and they insist they're good for the interest of all citizens and
Okay.
it's good for the development of this country.
I
That's not
see.
the role of parliament,
Okay.
And parliament also get a power with oversight functioning. Now, in like they hold the executive responsible,
So in other words, before we
hold
go
them
further,
accountable.
so if she present that to Parliament, they can reject and say we do not approve of this, so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, then gets more edge over her as the Attorney General, correct?
I mean, when it comes to passing of laws,
Okay.
making
Yes.
laws, I
Okay.
mean, parliament are the most powerful house because
Right.
it knows the way, guide the ages in office. like the law officers. I mean, it is an act of parliament. The constitution will create the role and responsibility and the power to appoint an AG. Is an act of parliament. So parliament, is very powerful. But in a parliament, they look to say, if even people that know they get justice challenges, they for let them get access to justice. Because of get justice minister. So the same AG back now hold the two portfolio and the parliament can call that person there and ask and say, this time at the bottleneck of your people. And so, I mean, justice not go down well for these people.
So now we take them back again on the other side, right? For these parliamentarians, them, where you look at them again, you look at the action being taken against 10 elected parliamentarians from the main opposition, you understand? Because then decide, say, then they walk away from, or whatever the case may be, then drag them out of their seat and place other parliamentarians and they're not being elected. So when you look back again on the other side, could it possibly be that these parliamentarians then they're afraid for, even though the laws then they're at their hand, they even get more power than the president, because the president can present and then can say no. So hence the reason why it's important for now we set the correct precedent where it be say we get for follow from one administration to another. So what thing that you take on that? Could it be that some of them want to stand for the truth, but at the end of the day, like in the example of Honorable Tawa, where I can always go back again, make that example, salute him, where he stands as a patriotic Sierra Leonean, but in the end, we see what's happened or what is being said about him, or suggestion that is being made as in the case that his political affiliation for suppress even the interest of Sierra Leonean. You understand? So could it possibly be that there are good parliamentarians who go and stand for the truth and want stand for all the rights then we then get as parliamentarian over these other individual or even the executive body, but in the end, the executive it basically overshadow everything. What's in that you take on that? So how can we blame? How much can we blame them? To what degree can we really hold them accountable? Given the obvious of waiting they go on.
Definitely, you will blame individuals, but then because individuals make the law.
Yeah.
But we, as a country, one of we mistake this country in stagnation one, because of bad laws.
Absolutely.
Anybody will tell you say we get laws, we don't get problem with the laws. That person is so much genuine and honest.
Absolutely.
But that the truth is.
Assume, but sorry.
We since 1963, 1964, 1965, we developed laws and where they against the people of this country. And we ride them down to 1978 when we changed the constitution from 1961. The constitution will gain independence. We changed it in 1968. And Macon deliberately said the president aimed for appoint a national electoral commissioner. And the same president aimed for appoint the chief justice. And the same president get a power for ensure say a form a committee or let them look into a misconduct where it will raise against a judge or a chief justice for let them remove that judge or chief justice. And when that committee they form, then go carry them report to the president, and then on that the president dismiss the chief justice. And then they also come to the same president will also fire the electoral commissioner. So then we call these institutions and say they are independent institutions, they are democratic institutions, but there is a whole heavy rock hanging over their heads. That if they don't dance to the tune of the president, where go they in power, definitely they are not going to be nobody. And we look at the police, the police constitutionally again, the president and they appoint the police and the deputy, the inspector general of police and the deputy inspector general of police, and the same president again, in got the power again for fire both the inspector general of police and this. Then the military council also, agreed on, and the president appoints the chief of defense staff, and the same president again fire the same chief of defense staff. This is not the security apparatus and the criminal justice system. I don't give you so when it make up the landscape. And the same constitution again, 1991 constitution. So when the president go to parliament, the speaker they insist they become vacant, and the president they occupy the seat of the speaker. The president is always a member
Of
the
parliament.
Then when they go to parliament, they take the highest seat, and they go take a stranger to the place. The
Wow.
seat where the speaker, the leader of parliament is on, and they become vacant. I mean, the speaker they give away.
Automatically.
Yes. Then the president did it, he address the people. Let's come back to reality. These same laws I then say, if you want go into politics 1 year, if you don't resign, you kind politics, and if you the petition you during the electioneering process, the courts na info pass the verdict. If the court pass a verdict, meaning you the lost that you sit, then the person we can second it occupy your seat. We develop those laws. And when most of the politicians and can make laws when they in power, it's all about themselves. And when they will take over the come and say, oh me, this will go favor me. So I don't think so me same need for tamper with her. But these are the things where discomfortable for the nation. But for the fact that a political party will go there in power, they're not going to say as a discomfort law. Like a very comfort and secure law for them. Why? Because it they in their own interest more than the opponent the way want to see them back out of power. So they don't go through it. I'm telling you, as I speak to you now, we police, they actually formed the police when at the 1964 Police Act. It was developed from the 1961 Constitution. We don't change Constitution 2-3 times from 1961, 1978, and 1991 when they would currently use. But the 1964 Act will make the police. We don't one day torture or amend them. They only bring in a constitutional provision, the establishment of police, the background of it, and the appointment of the IG and the deputy, and also the police council. That's for a header. And 1968, 1961, 1978 Constitution, the mayor of Freetown being part of the police council. The tribal leaders being part of the police council. The headman being part of the police council. But the 1991 provision give no relevancy to the crop of people now we don't call. And we reintroduced back local government in 2004. So the fact that we get mayor back, now with governance system, a provision for them day back now with constitution, but let the mayor go back to the police council. Let the traditional leaders and go back, I'm religious leader, traditional leaders, go back to the police council. But that is not the way it is. And recently, to time, we don't really say they don't dismiss police there, that they say police council na incident, and who is the chairperson of that police council? It's no less a person, but the second gentleman of the land, the vice president. And who is the secretary in that council? It's no less a person, somebody appointed by the president, than the police inspector general. Coming back, and they build them foundations. One thing, when I can talk on national issues, I don't want to talk about emotions. I don't want to talk about, I feel sorry for these people, them, they're not for be beaten, so, these police, they behave bad. Sometimes the way police they talk for them, about the bad services and way government they do to them. If you go to the quarter, it's not good. You look at the salary, it's not good. It's not encouraging. I mean, there's nothing really encouraging for police force. Let's be honest. So when I can stop that, they say, "Oh, Mr. Fatomaa, you waking ready? You blast for we. You tell we're professional. Police brutality. Police don't respect human rights. Well, then when you ready, now you one day they talk back for we no more." I said, "Well, it's not about it's about how reality for be. It's not about. I'm not against your work. I'm not against the police force. I'm against the attitude and the action, the reaction. The police force meant to secure us, not to insecure us, not to guarantee us about our insecurity. That's not the major purpose. So when you look at those laws, then the same parliament, we encourage them and it goes on. Now, court go a pass in verdict. That not to the AG in office. So we come back to the Chief Justice, another arm of government, under the legislative. Where the Chief Justice in Agba, then the Agba. Like we have 3 Agbas, in a system. The president for the executive and the overall president for the state. The speaker as the head of parliament, the entire parliament, and the Chief Justice for the head of the judiciary, for all judges. That is their own principal, their own president. For all judges and magistrates. So when you look at these are the 3 Abbas, from 3 different angles. And we say, according to we will do governance and what we say. Then 3 people there therefore remains separated and work independently. And nobody interfere with income people. But that is not the case in Sierra Leone. Why? Because the same constitution what they talk about, the same bad laws, it make it clear the Judiciary Commission, the composition of anybody. I mean, this country we fix judges by political party. Now we own time this so the principal magistrate therefore be we own person. Nabo, McKinney, the High Court judges court number 1, court number 2, then therefore be we own people. Whenever we go bring man, we know they understand the system. The appeals court, we never forget we own man. The Supreme Court, we never forget. If we don't get quorum, they mean that the Chief Justice. I won't call any case where they are against the state, or we go embarrass the case. So since that is Chief Justice, therefore allocate the case. That case go sleep there, say it will be there.
Yeah. Unfortunately. So now, one of the viewers, it gets a question for you. Oh, statement. It say the Attorney General deceive Parliament. She persuade Parliament to approve the SOE and promised to take the regulation in 2 weeks. But up till
21
now,
days,
she has
not 2 weeks. 21 days.
21 days. Okay, so he writes 2 weeks. So what's in your take on that? Was it okay? Do you believe that he persuade them, or is it their fault? Can we also hold them accountable for saying no? We're not going to allow this. We forget like how you say guidelines for this 21 days or whatever the case may be, or. Yeah, come back in on that. Help me on that one.
I know, because maybe the person will ask that question. When we start this program.
Yeah.
That might be my first foundation. Right. And I was so brutal on that.
Yes.
She lied to us. Yeah. Disregard the members of parliament, and disregard we as a citizens. Because if parliament give you a mandate, say go and count in 21 days. But then I look at it and say, Parliament, happily and wholeheartedly accept such disregard to them. But then if we say, they are happy, but we will send them, then we are not happy. Because these are the same Parliament. After we then give that woman that homework, here in ministry for go do that and come back, they're not done. But the same Parliament continue approving presidential nominee. President don't appoint past 21 people, then pass the 21 days with them with that woman. And the Parliament don't approve them all.
Sad.
They dare not open their mouth eh? And say, if AG no come, we no go pass any law. Don't trust opposition MP or neither, even the ruling MP or neither independent MP. The game they play against the state.
Wow.
I mean, it's so dangerous.
So, but things say maybe some of them we really get the fairness of God. We really get the interest of the country. Then
forget about fairness of God.
Forget
the laws where we get at this country, definitely they make some of them men and women and be fair. Because if you political party send in a parliament, the same law where we get say, you for be more allegiance to a political party than your political party. If you go there, you they say something in the more interest of the people, but they against the political party.
Yes.
That same political party they apply back to the Speaker of Parliament, or say that man there or that woman there, not a member of the party, we don't pull out. Then I remove the symbol, then that person they become a non-parliamentarian. Then they kick her out of parliament. These are the laws that are not democratic for us.
So when they say, it go back to what they say is that if even they want stand by the interests of Sierra Leone and Sierra Leonean, because of these unfortunate laws now in country, it not really protect them for not and stand for the truth.
No way.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. That's the reality.
Okay.
I mean,
it is the reality.
when Tower be stand up, about corruption at Parliament.
Yes.
When Tower reject certain things and we, if we say go bring, economic disaster at this country.
Yeah.
Waiting this ruling party start threatening with.
Yes.
Now with that law for removal of Parliament.
Yes.
So go keep quiet.
Yeah.
It will go back and shell. If you say in community more important past the party, well, that's not what the law says. And so these laws are against us. But we keep voting people to represent us.
Do you think that Salongo ever gets that Moses? That Moses will care for the interests of Sierra Leone and Sierra Leonean. Do you believe that? Because if somebody they say, if Suzanne they come to they say, I am the new direction, I am the hope and the trust for Sierra Leone, and then Suzanne come, he see laws like these, and not worry about in your interest, or not worry for say nah, pull them laws there, so for make every Sierra Leonean benefit, make a move them laws there, so forget people like Mr. Fatomaa will go challenge me to the task. So how you go say that these Suzanne or New Direction really care for the country? It really not make sense. So I'm really concerned, or are they asked on behalf of Sierra Leonean, do you really think that we go get that Moses one day?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we have generational cycles. Martin Luther King, they were not thinking, their own generation, not been ever think say, US could get a black president.
Correct.
Even so many black people get their own reservation. But the fact that say that comes to reality. We not been the things say within COVID, states them within the United States will force for review the power way, then give police and so much, at state level. I mean, it's all about generation. That I can tell you for true. After the war, 1990s, during the war, 1996, we forced election. APCB get 5%. And people were thinking that after 1992, there will be no more APC. 2002, and then said then they come slowly, then they come gradually, but they know they come to power quick yet. And 2007, then overtake and take power. In 2012, they maintain power. In 2018, they go out of power. So we get level and layers of generations. The generation now we get for face after 2028 election, if we get election by then time, 2028, 2029, or 2030. I mean, if me and you two they are alive,
God willing,
you will definitely say that man be say all listeners the way go say. I mean, that not the generation of the actual Libra people them now. We born meet democracy.
Yeah.
We born
It
meet
look like somebody
the
want
principle,
a question for you. One
and
second,
the
sir.
beliefs of human rights.
Forgive me, somebody they call with questions. Salon for All, Voice for All Network Television. Kindly identify yourself, please. Oh, hold on one second. When are they here? You go. Okay, yeah, go ahead. You want to ask questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I want to ask question. Are they call from Maryland? You know, Mohammed Sisse from Maryland.
Okay, Mr. Sisse.
I mean, yes, I they feel the passion of
Mr. Fatomaa.
Mr. Fatomaa.
Yeah.
I know the incredible job where they do for expose the weaknesses, the lacunas in our institution there. But my issue, I want to ask one question. What is the real problem at Salon? If the institutional failure or the individual we the people now we don't get the insights for we protect your right, we speak up for we right or the institution because when I can say so, I don't see there's also a myth going around that the youth. I don't see youth in a different institution there where they lead their institution. They like don't talk about the parliament, like the clerk of parliament, the parental alley. They all are youth. And I see the renaissance. Now youth they will be very promising, like the likes of like in the Fatomaa, so again in community, the way highly intellectually they know the issue, they know where they get the mindset for change that country day. But most of them right now they in governance. I can call few like the current anti-corruption commissioner Venkai Fala and the current guy with the lead the COVID-19, the spokesperson winner Jamil, and they get a lot of people there. When are youthful people there? When are the renaissance? When are they be up? Like what is Mr. Fatomaa they do so no more? We forget to highlight the issue there. And like the one that we don't know, we for expose the excesses and the failure of their institution in there and how their institution can function for the Salon prosper, where they not for stagnate the country. But some people that unfortunately we look at their behavior, it's like because at least the one time when Mr. Fatomaa did na AYB, he worried about the next generation. Because we hope the country hope say the old politicians they don't fail they set up a system just like we in the begin for set the case. They set up a system for use the people and they gain from the system. They don't get nothing for lose. Now we get something for lose. But the renaissance will be able people we being saying that people are enlightened like Mr. Fatomaa. Most of them, like 60% of them guys now in the current administration. And then they show no example. None of at all look like the parental alley. Look at the abysmal performance of parliament. Look at the anti-corruption, where they combat corruption. They're all not politicized, they don't tribalize. So I wonder if Mr. Fatomaa really tell me what is the future of the country, which institution are the people are responsible for change their institution or who are the people where they for where go able to help like where Fatomaa is exposed for change the mindset of the ordinary Israelis. Let them know they want, they know how the institution will operate, how the institution will represent the interests of the people, rather than party or tribal or regional interests. Now, real question that day.
Thank you, sir. So I hand them back to you, sir, Mr. Fatomaa. I shall say that already. This now one of we executive member. And one second, Mr. Muhammad, please. I will also need you for now. Help me with if you go call back in a little bit for help me with some question with the Facebook page, please. Okay.
No problem.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Mr. Fatomaa.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Sisse. That's a brilliant question, and your descriptions about me very good as well. Let me tell you this: we get a generational problem, a problem where majority of we now the champion. We papa them born meet them problem in this stuff. Not even. I mean, we just can't.
Like we inherit the problem.
On top of the whole rock.
Yeah.
You know. But the crown it for staff for answer your question. Dishonesty dishonesty is the rock of one of the reason why we are where we are today.
Absolutely.
You know, majority of public officials and majority, they are totally and blatantly dishonest. They are not sincere with themselves, and so they are not sincere with the general public. And the public way they go seek, the public service way then they provide to me. The laws then, we come back to the laws. You know, I study law from diploma level to master's level.
Wow.
And other professional level, you know, and so law reform issues. I mean, now one of the passion. Like I tell you about the 1964 Police Act, the previous act. AGs and IGs and I top fire. They're not. So now I don't take her up with the this current minister, China Affairs Minister, because I'm my way. I know in the UK, we're very close. And I know in appetite for decency and discipline. I'm a Badanoa. And so I approach and wholeheartedly welcome you. We start the process. So we don't open the process. But to me, your disappointment, the current AG, the promise for coming several times, made a call at the people saying they meeting, they go about Zoom meeting, that they go come in, up to now, not coming. And this is about the police. That law is not good for any good policing as of today we speak. That law. Because that law na say, if any police officer get a political party card, the fact that the internal affairs minister give an okay to it, that police officer they get no problem. So when you say, the police don't politicize, I will shut up. But I read the law. And then God say, if a police want to do a business, the fact that said the inspector general of police get an okay, he get a right, for do business. And in all countries, no security agent not for engage in business.
Sad.
But that law, the 1964 Police Act, and when they still refer to the Queen and her successors, not the government of Sierra Leone or the president of Sierra Leone, but the Queen and her successors. So you come to the 1964, 1965 Public Order Act, the criminal procedures,
Sad.
All of these things, they are not good for correct judiciary. They are not good for correct governance system. But people, like Mr. Sise said, and we say, we can't change. That's all the dishonest what they talk about. They are not sincere. You go with those laws, you want to come with the power. They can law and they protect you. But when it's worse about them, they were in the opposition, they have bad laws there. When will come? Now, if you go those things, we'll go wait for us. When economy is full strong yet. These are the deceitfulness, dishonest, behavior and nature. Then we cannot self as individuals. The salon man or salon woman we they can plan with. So Lord do this for change the system. As that thing come to media light, you get one or two political connections. You see them, Fatomaa can get meeting with me, so we'll do this one.
Yes.
But he or she want money.
Yes.
And again, one small money, then he become a rebel against me.
Yes.
All with private information, we plan, then government use and turn against me. They go for after me say, they plan bad against government. But they start harassing me that say, we know what they do. And bring those laws as a modern laws for money laundering and this will go after civil society.
So those are those type of individuals are the enemies. So these individuals, the way they describe, so then are the so-called activists, like civil.
Khadija, Mr. Sise asked a question. What's our problem, either the institution or the individual?
Right.
I just described to you
Yeah.
a common plural union.
Right.
The very man down there where they go fetch for back. We don't say, no, God, they challenge this matter here for now. They go for. And the politicians they know say this go embarrass the government and go be them people then they and give them something.
Okay.
Then they settle with the government. They're not even there inform you.
Yes.
We don't champion the cause.
Then you
The
become the
government
enemy.
now they go challenge you, say the people the way you make or don't even say to them, now you own personal interest or maybe you get something against this government. The same people. And when you go look at the thing where they say to, now the leaders the way they appoint among themselves, that they don't give something where it cannot last with them for a week. If even they go for a reckless spending, it cannot rest with them for even 1 hour. You know,
So now,
and but then these are the people when the same government strike at them, where the civil society, where outside them don't donate to civil society, Amnesty International, no the Black Lives Matter movement, you know the donation we then get from the public.
wow.
But yeah, when you talk about civil society in this country, who do you get the guts? For say they donate, 100,000 euros, and they don't know the way that they talk, but say they give money. Don't know they give you money for criticize the government too. Don't know they give you money for go pull you in jail. Don't know they give you money say political participation. This that, and what thing they do is all about their interest. It's not about even the very public when they say don't know money. It's not about their interest. So don't know they give money say go monitor court. When monitor court is a 6-month project. What thing they happen after that 6 months? If you say who's all been get funding for that, they happen again. But other matters, they cannot court. They don't require court monitoring. They don't give money to a monitor police cell. Then the project lifespan at 12 months or 24 months. After that 24 months, they say they don't get money again with that. After that 24 months, other people they don't go in at the police cells. If they don't give you money, say, hire lawyers, they provide free legal aid. Or people they way poor, they will get access to lawyer. In other countries like the UK, the US, Germany, citizens and they pour money into civil society for challenge government and fill the gap of government. If you also government will provide lawyer for the people, then they provide money for certain organizations where they say, okay, this will they give you money, but then they provide legal representation for disabled people then only. So get lawyer for we. Anytime a disabled person get in conflict with the law, you provide defense for her or you prosecute matters for her. But we know they do that. Then are the dishonesty of our we.
So
if we don't change the laws, the institutions that we rely on Abupa, they will never work in our favor. Because when the very constitution they against me. So now it make you see we organization call for constitutional reform. One other online network, social media network, AAA. It may join for raise fund for we. I may get a discussion like this. They raise fund for we about $400. It puts a call out for the change of constitution. Let people there, donate. So we'll cause noise at the country now. We'll do flyers, we'll do jingles, we'll do billboards.
Yes.
We'll fire. These are expensive things.
Absolutely.
One billboards at this country are 15 million. For printing and hanging for 6 months or 1 year. It's 15 million. Now we're talking about $1,500.
Right.
And if you want to print those jumbo banners and call artists, now when you call some artists in this country, even the local one, they will not get liked. They say, give me 2 million, give me one.
Respect to artists, Demo.
Even some of them don't have likes.
Yes, we only go down international levels, so you get.
and
but you know what's in
these are key things.
No,
yeah?
Mr. Fatomaa.
So let me say, like, if we succeed having like them $20,000-$25,000, if we say COVID, no COVID, we intensify with campaign. By the time COVID they done, the government they run for look into it because when the people speak, government listen.
Yeah.
But we no one for speak. We want for wait election come. We gather ourselves by region. We gather ourselves by tribe. We gather ourselves by school. If na Albert Academy man na flag bearer na APC, the whole of Albert Academy man from the north, if not the north, you come out the south, whether I be there the other side, then they come back this other side because the Albert Academy person. If not boss, they left for car. If not my broker boys, they left for car. I mean, these are well PhD holders, masters holders, and these people tell you say they're exposed. They're damn not exposed.
So what I want to talk about civil society activists. So there's only few of you guys where they work with integrity, or basically they work in the interest of Sierra Leone and Sierra Leone as a whole. So what you would say in that department in terms of the one that we really they work for the interests of Sierra Leone and Sierra Leonean? If you can count in how many you would say out of the many, where you go say really I go look like in the like for us, many of us go say, okay, in the case of the young man Mr. Thomas Conte, you see the sacrifices we make up to the point where land to where then puts case 9-8. So how many of you now really they work in the interest of Sierra Leone and Sierra Leonean? I mean, you're not gonna forgive specific name, but
no, I mean, you don't need for guide me.
Yeah, I don't say you bold.
When and how I feel say the word really come on and not. I always say I'm responsible for my actions.
That's right.
But I'm not responsible how somebody
they receive it. Yes,
that's not a responsibility.
I say that.
Why you turn on and your responsibility.
Yes.
When the people arrest Thomas More. We go police. I mean, when I say we chatty, we head of legal affairs, and with myself, we did it. We negotiate for him bail and the student and bail. I mean, we able for negotiate and release the student with we intervention.
Right.
And but in the tell we clearly say they go charge them and these are that and go these are so. But we never abandon. We go through with her. And through the court trial. And a young man was very appreciable. He returned to me, and the organization and say a lot of appreciation, and also to the other selfless lawyers that we be really provide, free legal aid for us. And when it comes to civil society, what I want to let people know, we get different type of civil society. Absolutely. Now the public that they misunderstand themselves.
Okay.
I mean, not of them men the way or the women the way they refer to say they are not civil society, they are evil. No, they are not evil. They are civil society.
So basically,
why I'm saying this? Okay, hold on. Yeah. Why am I saying this? Mm-hmm. We get civil society where are pro-government civil society.
Okay.
They will support government. They will never criticize government. They will get civil society the way not pro-opposition civil society. They will criticize government, on political grounds and come with no solution. Then we get civil society that we're there for the people.
Okay.
So in other words, this is civil society the way, not they talk for one political party or one political party interest. Okay. But because of ingenuous stand and criticize the government of the day, the capital benefit goes to the opposition. So the ruling party will always align some of them straight civil society with government sympathizers. I happen to be a victim in these two administrations. Before APC say, SLPP foreign mercenary, and now SLPP, I get over 50 text them on my Facebook page or when I did on program like this, na AYP 98.1, where people then they cost me parent them. And they even tell me, say they hate me anytime they turn television and see me face, they hate me with passion. Just because why? They say me very critical to this government. There's nothing good about this government, I say. But then, my role is not a government spokesman or strategic communication for government. My role is civil society. Yeah. And I represent the people. Yeah. And the interest of the people is paramount to us. And the policy gap of government is what we will highlight and say, hey, this policy is not in the best interest of the majority of the people. It might be in a specific interest of certain people in the country, or there's a certain region of the country, or a certain town or village of the country. But it's not in the interest of the general or the majority people of this country. And government responsibility Now for everyone in the country, not few people. So when we can highlight those issues, then there comes us and no, they with we don't know who say they, na antagonist, no, na this, today you talk him right, tomorrow you talk, when I hold this APC man, you go there, when I hold this, I mean, if we're talking about judiciary, the rule of law, if I want to go and sit on telly and talk, sometimes I need a first-hand evidence. I don't just talk because I have a platform as a civil society leader and people they respect me. So because of people they respect me, I get for disrespect myself. No. And the government has not been serious to manage the affairs of civil society and NGOs in this country. In other civilized country, like we try for catch civilization, not civilizing to, you know. They ensure that say the 5013 US, if that's the figure, but then for the charity.
Or the
And then
501c3,
yeah,
501, yeah.
yeah. Then we get a charity commissioner in England.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to operate as a charity, the guidelines there, the mandate there, if you want to operate as a civil society.
Mm-hmm.
When you go out of that scope, then they have not much talk with you, is to terminate your membership. And then you become illegal. If you want to run just a campaign movement for a day, you don't need registration. But if you need an ongoing campaign, then you get for the solicit form.
Okay.
For money laundering and all that, you have to register. And you have to abide with that category where you own charity movement for.
So let me ask you a quick question. For the one that will label themselves, because obviously you don't make it clear to me when it comes to civil society, I guess I would say they're all in different category based on their intention or their gender. You understand? So having said that, if like in the example where you give, then put themselves in that category of being a civil society activist, and then they leave by that for the like in the case of things then where they go on at the country, we see them say they're not active, whatever the case may be. Can they be reprimanded if somebody else complain them, or how does that work?
Well, I mean, these are the irresponsibility of government when it comes to this thing. And you get so many civil society organizations or NGOs. They are not registered. That's one point. And if they are registered, I mean, we don't get harmonization of the registration. A bigger democracies pass with a population higher than we. Now, one straight harmonized registration then gets. As big as America is, some state then, them just the city population, it can flag salon and change left, But all charities, register to the charity commission or the institution where they handle charity issues. But here is the country. You register as a community-based organization, a city council. Freetown City Council can give you as a CBO, meaning you have license to practice as a civil society. You have the Ministry of Social Welfare for register you as a local NGO, meaning you have license and all, social welfare outlets across the country, because then they by different region and then different offices. So you are licensed to practice as a civil society and a local NGO or community-based NGO. Then you come to the Ministry of Development, economic planning. Planning and economic, whatever, MOPEP, how they call it, They register both INGOs and local NGOs as well. And then you come to the Corporate Affairs Commission, where they register companies. And so also, most charities and civil society go through them for register as a company limited, as a company for non-profit, limited by guarantee. That's another outlet. So the own company with them open, and for only run human rights business, democracy business, media business, and also governance and so much others with civil society. So when something happens, then regulatory bodies there, because of the laws that varies, So you don't even know what's that organization they register. So in the first place, you might go and report one of the wrong body, regulatory body, where maybe you not even associate with, you not even register. You know, first you investigate that civil society for know whether you register with, and you go to that person. And what you not be interested in, not the money. But there is no guidelines where they give to and say, when they give this certificate, if you behave so, you behave so, we will withdraw the certificate from you. And you know, when we see that, you know, will continue for function as a civil society. Yeah, if you continue for do that, it will be illegal and they're against the law. And when you do that, now you penalty this. You go pay, 150 million. So people were scared, for do things. But
So
people they set up politicians and sometimes they set up civil society organizations and put, and surrogate them the ending. And if you go look at that account, they say any foreign donor, really they fund that civil society. Or maybe there's nothing even flowing. But
so
they have the money to
what do they
attend
get?
press conferences, they have the money to organize, other activities.
So what do
Of
they get?
course, sponsor the radio and television programs.
Yeah, now ask you
But then,
something quick. What do they get? What do they get is that a legit civil society organization should be or supposed to be sponsored by an international donor, correct?
I mean, that's not only the basics.
No, I'm
But
saying okay, okay, go ahead.
being that a poorer nation where we did,
Right.
if you see, say, individuals that begin to fund civil society too much, I mean, those individuals are linked with political activities or political agendas. I mean, yeah, because if you that man may not get something for it today, you may go give Chad the money. Because Chad boss in necktie alone self, I mean, it's so heavy. So you go say, that man the way they dress fine, so you get good perfume, and maybe go get 1,000, with 5,000. So, but if you see individuals that begin to donate 10 million, 20 million, I mean, you look at them, they have been in politics or out of politics. Because we don't get that culture of giving to charity, we get a culture of publicity. Most people want to give, outside and they publicize the name, or a name they under the spotlight, the individual they under the spotlight of the day. Oh, I mean, give it like where COVID come. You see, some man even go to us. Let him buy one bag, let's 5 batter per man or oil. He give, he say let them take pictures, snap and send them for a poster. This is the little thing we can do back home, but I mean that's not genuine.
Yeah.
You get me? Because I mean we lack those culture.
Yeah.
And if you want to give, don't give your friend or family member. Donate to, I mean, a well-organized structure system.
Absolutely.
And those systems
I
will
agree.
hold them accountable tomorrow.
I agree.
But when we scatter, we don't harmonize the thing. If some of the beneficiaries then genuinely we say we want for target, we therefore miss them along the road. But because of lack of trust, lack of confidence in one another, and with public institutions the way we get, we they do now things they genuinely we do bad. So until government becomes serious or manage the NGO landscape, then we will able to get a well coordinated, well structured civil society. But without that, I mean, we therefore remain getting a very scattered civil society and it left to decide where you they support before you elect a particular civil society leader. And because by we name them again at this country, they discriminate against it, no matter what good you do. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, some people can tell me say I get courage. Then I don't look at myself say I get courage. I look at myself say I get a passion for this country. I love this country. I love the people of this country. Yeah. Because you look at some people then, even at they apply the effort, they sacrifice their life to save them. They say, not to Fatomaa, you not go believe her too much, oh, na mende man, na shabu man, na bounty come on. Even when I tell people they say me not to mende me na a shabu man. No, but now then so if you say you go come on being people that, I mean I'm not doing it to please nobody.
Yes.
I'm not doing it to convince anybody. I'm doing it. But the very one the way when they say and I'll go come up being there. They're not comfortable with me. They don't like me today, they don't like me tomorrow at the moment.
Hey, yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, government take before then they completed 2 years, and government begin to even call me back function, recognize me work. But even though we organization advise them, they don't take and implement them several on form of press release.
Wonderful.
And they know we roll at the country, we know high.
Absolutely.
But they don't want to.
So
If you can't ask, they can't tell big people. When I want for derogate you and damn you, like troublesome person, I can tell them, hey, come on, don't say that. That's disrespectful.
Yeah.
I'm not troublesome.
I'm
a solutionist.
Yeah, in the interest of
solution. I'm not a troublesome man.
Yeah.
Those who know me live privately with me, I advise people on good things. I don't advise people on bad.
Absolutely.
I've never been in a bad squad. From my school days, I've never been in that squad. I grew up like this. I don't smoke, I don't drink. I'm not going to bar, I'm not going to hang out. All I get love with my family. All I get time with my family.
Yeah.
So I'm not troublesome. I'm just that straight shooter.
Yes.
I look at you because I like you and tell you the truth.
Yes.
If you don't like me, that's your own business.
But
I will leave you and tell you, say, no, this is not right, and it's not. It doesn't supposed to be done by you.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, the people you're doing this against, they don't deserve that, and this has been my punishment in this country for saying that. What our people are receiving today, they don't deserve it. For far too long, we have been marginalized. For far too long, we have been neglected. But when they want us, after 4 years, 11 months, they will use 1 month to engage us.
Yeah.
What they will engage us on? Alcohol. What they will engage us on? Temporary food.
Yeah.
What they will engage us on?
Drugs.
For us to be joyous with them, to show that they are the favorite at this moment. Then after that, they will send us into deliberate and permanent holiday for another 4 years, 11 months. This is what we have been subjected to. 5 years after 5. And yet still, majority of us have not learned the lesson. Businesses in this country, it's controlled by politicians. You want to work in this country, it's not about your qualification, it's about politics.
Mm-hmm.
First time we will say, hey, Khadija, if you know, a Lambo, or if somebody say, forget money, I mean, that person is for kill him. Like it. Now, if somebody say, be politician, for kill him. Because if you became one scholarship, if you became one work, if you get business, you want to get customer, you want to sell, you only go through a politician.
Wow.
The moment some business, the moment one party don't come on apart, that business don't close. Nobody want to associate themselves with that business, to go to that shop. But when that party became power, there were people who were coming to that shop.
Yes.
Because that business connects to a politician.
Yes. Somebody they call real quick. No. Salon for All, Voice for All Network Television. Kindly identify yourself, please.
This is Lawrence Fox from London. Salon.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Lawrence. Welcome.
Mr. Fatomaa also.
Yeah, Mr. Fatomaa. Yes. Welcome, sir.
I want to commend them. Well said. Well done. I tell somebody that will like Salon. Because I analyze that from every perspective. Every salon they go PM to. Well done, Mr. Fatomaa. That's well done. And that's how you do. You're not free for the Siam. You're ready for good deal. But you know what they will do. That's also hypocrisy and lie. When APC come and pretend. When SFP come and pretend. Who said we do now? And as you say, we don't get sit here at all. Since like them, we need young generation. They are pulling on the whole way they talk. And I call them the secretary of SFP because I'm very well. The parents are already talking. Parents are already talking. So the great father look at the rubbish they talk. We sit down in struggle for electricity. We don't care on the opportunity. We are still in the government. Then when they go pull a motor, they go take loan, grants, where they bluff. Where is Salon heading to? They will get like you total like what? Arrest and detain people and just take it and say they no day. They president be a god, and God that country, God, like a God, we open the mouth, sign control all things. Charles Salon will go before Paneka go to attend you. And this is the 21st century, we have to move on. We have to give institution a right. Institutions that can say you speak up, you give, and then we politicize a lot of things there. Within the system, we will correct people. They can't say parliamentarian, they can't say naturally. I don't know what diaspora is for involved in politics. They don't want to change the law. Because they don't say diaspora is good, we will change the law. They don't want that thing. They make sure put that to themselves. Self-process in Greek. Mr. Fatomaa, well said. Well said. Yeah? We don't fight for that country, and we fight for the ordinary man. That's why it's happening. Because you know Israel, the same country, they don't see. Every time they don't have time, man, the whole country, that's something they get. When they see they bring them most in cardboard. You can't pay for common health system. If we create a system, we will get a proper health system. If we create a system, we will get to job with the people that go do. If we create a system, there's a lot of opportunity to gain as Sierra Leonean. But no, they don't even listen to the thing. All they care about is selfishness and greed and sincerity. And they cheat on for themselves and their family and their picking. And that's no more. Outside no more go before. I question to ask.
Thank you so much.
Politicians say when we have parliament, APC, SLPP, PCC, PCC. Then the constitutional party they tell them say, if every LBC man they can't tell that guy that they sour. They don't talk. If this is the party get power for pulling. I mean, they don't make sense. Anyway, well said, sir. Congratulations, sir. I'll be careful. Look at what says, sir.
Thank
but
you.
The question I will ask next.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, the question I will ask him now.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Is, I will get a court system. Yeah. Maybe the magistrates. You don't the trial, don't you too? Because the magistrates are supposed to be. Because I think that's really not people can understand. The magistrate is supposed to be independent. Meaning life and right to the magistrate and inner decide. When you look at doctors who apply right for appeal to the judiciary, appeal to the jury for what we don't get evidence before you. When you don't get the evidence, you understand you give judgment. Mr. Fatomaa, I confuse on our side, like this, explain to me, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lawrence, for your time. Mr. Fatomaa, come back in, sir.
Yeah, the problem is that I've been against some, say the line been a creepy, like they get your some sharp edge.
Okay.
So for me, and I don't know if we suffering the internet.
Okay.
But these are the country they celebrated and get 4G. I've never sent something on my system, say 4G then on my phone. But when I in London, immediately I switch me UK SIM card. And they notice me say 4G internet service. But yeah, is it LE something or what? 3G. And then I'm paying for 4G. So I mean, I managed to get some of the things and when they talk about the corruption of the country, the insincerity. I mean, it's not an old age problem. We don't need to talk about that. I remember when last year we take up an issue where we fight for bankers' rights. The one that we've been working in a bank. So when we take some workers, then another bank workers and we may let's say they engage in other activities at the bank on foreign exchange. So then poor security men and they sack them. Then first drag them to police. And the Bank of Salon bribe for the 5 million for the police. Then say that a logistic for the police investigate. I mean that's ridiculous. I mean me not a complainant. Why I get for give money for police as a logistic for let it investigate somebody where Alex say you don't thief me. And this is the central bank. When you forget integrity. But it engage in bribery, for buy justice. But see say innocent citizens and go jail. But then the magistrate Moody discharge them after them. Good. Then the SEC back call them people then back. They investigate them. They not see. So after change of government, the governor change back. The same governor meet this current governor meet that report. He send the report back to this current SEC. And this current SEC advise say they don't see evidence for prosecuting people then. or for hold them for any corruption. But however, let the central bank take administrative role. We bring that all to the attention of the ACC about the bribery. And up to date, we not get nobody arrested at that Bank of Sierra Leone for that blatant wickedness. And 7 or 8 of them men in it today, as I speak to you, they are jobless, they are hopeless, they have nowhere to go. And they terminate them people there without a single dime.
Interesting.
Yeah. We don't get them case. One of the matter they not court, then this corona coming. So we win when victory come out of that court, then we swing in the other cases. Then.
So the other
So
question,
when we
quick
go to
question,
statistics then,
Miss.
we try for fed for the 244 people then.
Yeah.
We then be terminate straight away with this government kind of power. We fight for them for ensure that say they get them benefit. If you say you don't want this man, if he can't through back door, but the work where he do, then you use for kind of power. The work where he do, then you dey use now for project development and shame money. So if you say he can't through back door, that means it be illegal. Why you not condemn the very census when it make you kind of power? I mean, let's be honest with reality. You say the statistics people then they were, illegal. They hired them illegally. They inflated the figures. Yes, we know say the people then dishonest and not honest. But then if you say no, you dey sack them for that. For the same number. Where you see the image we get, parliamentary seats there, as far as Falaba we separate Falaba carry them. And today, this government, they project development to carry them in Falaba. Why? Now because of that work of statistics.
See that? So wait, cases then we don't acquitted from court. Then they go back again and call them case then they? Is it legal? Now we system? Or now we system designed that way?
When they acquit a case, meaning maybe a lack evidence. But
Correct.
if you're able to get your evidence back, you can bring all the charges then related to that matter back.
Okay, so I've been thinking say like places like here, like once it's done and closed. Not necessarily
on the same subject matter, but if you wrongfully somebody tie, like if I slap somebody, then they not charge me for assault, and then charge me for rape.
Okay.
Then probably not to that. But then evidence they say I be raped. So when they deal done with that,
the slap.
The slap when I assault.
Yeah.
When you charge me for rape, the lawyer presents say no, you know rape, you know this that. But then if another person look into that case and say there is an evidence and there is a possibility, for prosecute that assault.
Then go bring them back.
And clear evidence there.
Okay.
So you can bring now that charge because you first charge will bring against me. It was never even existing.
Okay.
Because you just hate me. But if you go bring another charge against me, we're different than not to the same charge. If we are the same charge where they acquit me for, you cannot bring me back for that.
Okay. Right.
But
Right.
You get the point.
Okay.
Now.
Right. Okay.
But you will bring me come back, on a different charge.
Right. So the same day, 2 events happened. One was acquitted, but then you did proceed for hold the person accountable for the second, whatever the case may be. Like I say, maybe at that same point you slap and then accuse you back for rape. But then they find you say you're not guilty of the rape, but then the person come back again and can get you for the slap. Correct?
Yeah, impossible.
Okay. So now, IMF just gave, or should I say loaned Sierra Leone a huge sum. How can we ensure that this fund is used to develop Sierra Leone and Sierra Leonean? In many Sierra Leonean will suggest it towards youth empowerment versus using the youth for selfish reasons, microcredits or empowering our women, improving medical facility, paying healthcare workers on time, paying teachers on time, paying Sierra Leoneans on time, educational session on police brutality and abuse of power. So what's your take on that, sir? So I ask you a question, and then I also bring about suggestion as to how maybe this funding can be beneficial to Sierra Leone and Sierra Leone as a whole.
No, me and you two will not get that power any longer.
Wow.
The time where we've been approach, the way the government been write a proposal for request to IMF. Say una can loan we like now. If you wanna loan you money, that's a loan. They tell me say Mr. Fatomaa, I wanna loan me 2 million or 3 million. And if I not give, I get this collateral way I go put on that. But I go send somebody for can collector. Next week I will pay 50% of that, and the other one I will know how they pay after. So when you receive that money, you give your pikin or any of your other family members. I mean, they not get a decision again for reverse me you two bagging.
I see.
You get me?
Yeah.
So we be not already as a nation not ask IMF. And IMF come with a condition say some of this money are within the giving now for let we pay with arrears them. With arrears them where we owe.
Okay.
You know, both public, I mean both international and internal debts them where we owe people them.
Okay.
These
So
are
in
the
other
clever
words-
with them people them. And they know they ever help with them, they help we for cover our own and dig home.
So for the benefit of the audience, so basically if we don't get prior loan from United States, where this money come, we go use that money there for pay some of the arrears.
Some of that money for both to us.
Okay.
And compulsory.
Not an option. No
if,
if or but.
if even we own we commissioners we previous government workers
Yes.
so that money they can as a way for pay them.
I see.
So if we own the former president and former ministers, former commissioners now that money they come for that we settle them.
So now the question, that's a good one, because we hear a lot of that, Mr. Fatomaa, wherein the then administration say, okay, they're not, even to the current, wherein teachers them, healthcare workers them, or like how you give the example of the then president or the ambassador them, they're not being gets them money. So if IMF don't give them that condition, then they have to abide by those, right? For make sure say those things are taken care of, correct?
According to your understanding, they're not be giving them full package.
Okay.
And give them 50%. So it will remain at 50%.
Okay.
So now, if they are genuine and honest enough to settle those things, now when we don't get this money, we tie down or settle down, we arrears as a nation. So some of that money, the justifiable use of it, that's say we give back, with previous public servant that will be the work for this country. We be owned them in arrears, so now we for don't settle them and we don't settle them.
Okay.
So you don't go use that money for go build hospital because that was not the agreement.
So the other
Maybe
question,
they say
do they also
out
give
of that 100%,
yeah,
use 20%,
okay,
for pay arrears. Then use 30% for strengthening your health system.
right.
Then use the other 50%,
Youth
to direct
empowerment.
salary and budget support,
Okay.
for pay salary of the current workers. So that's how that 100% they don't do. So if you go then to America, they all say, hey, let them buy boots now for police there. You go to China, they all say, oh, let them fix bar for now. Look, Kube, let them build bridge. Come on, man. You don't know nothing.
So basically, so that money they as then get them with condition, and if be used specifically to them areas, then they would the condition would then get them, correct? And then obviously then get for give accounts for waiting they use and pa. Okay. All right.
Of course.
Wonderful.
The moment they bridge them conditions and now the time you can see IMF they freeze them support.
Okay.
Even a beg they go beg them for let them load you, but you see they go beg somebody for 12 and they make time for you. So they're gonna tell you say no, we don't get money for you, boss don't go with. Okay. But then when you look at the amount we then give, then we compare to country sub-region. Now we are one of the countries we get the least. Ghana get about 300 million.
Wow.
Morocco get about billion. Tunisia get, Egypt get about $700 and something, $1 million.
So
So
sad.
even the first one will get 75, and now we can do 100. I mean, these even like Coca-Cola, then they not even match the advertisement budget, the
Wow.
media budget.
So could it
You know,
be because
so giving us that either as a grant, as a loan, it's not something we should celebrate. I know we are poor, but we have resources that can generate money. I mean, more than that money. The mining companies, the way they pull out with resources, and I mean, they run it into billions of dollars. And here is us having $100 million. I mean, we are crazy about it. The ruling party is celebrating, and the opposition is disgusted about it.
so
I mean,
being that
you know,
you bring the mining
which is
company,
shameful to either party.
yeah, you
What
bring
we should do, like the one person way before we say, our problem has been building up a system
yeah.
and maintaining a system. But how we build the system? Majority, with no disrespect, majority of the people that we work into the system, they are not exposed towards the system. I mean, some mandate, you don't even know the mandate of the directorate or the ministry. I mean, you look at corruption, nepotism, cronyism, all these things that you can talk about. If somebody there now is, but why not so to man and then now young people they know this, why not so Creole man there now, young of people they know this, young bad people they know this, why not so many man and there? They want to make a mini man business. So instead of really focusing on the work, and look at people who can be productive. We look at their background. How are they going to be loyal to us? How are they going to be function? The moment where the incompetency show up, then we use them as an undermine instead of building their capacity. They say, oh, this undermine, they undermine me. If you may not be intimidated, brother, if you say go do that, you may not be in the name brother or in the name sister, if you say go do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know say this person is incompetent. That's undermine they undermine you. He or she doesn't know.
Yeah.
But then immediately what we attach to, boom, tribal, boom, regional, boom, school. If na me na be go my boy school, if na me na be go CKC, if na me na be go school, and they watch girls school. If you say go behave good, and they watch girl no go behave to himself to this like that, because when they watch the Ghana way go and they watch not they now. When they watch they say we and they watch that, they pull yourself down. Girls school they not get my way, girls school pass on my God, they do like in a school be like you now we come on full at all. We forget about the actual thing.
Yeah, because basically people are not being treated with either with merit or demerit. I think say Mr. Fatomaa gets some issue again to it in device. Will they take a quick break and come right back? And I thank you. Now entertaining us small. Are you back, Mr. Fatomaa? Can you hear me? All right, will they take a quick break and
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear me? Can you hear me? Check you video setting and let it see you. Will they take a quick break and come back, right? Now thank you. And I thank you and welcome back, Mr. Fatomaa. I think say you've been there on the floor, so go right back in.
Yeah. Like I said, we people that need help. But we don't look at the help with the need. We look at, the region, we look at the tribe, we look at the school, and this has been our problem of late. And the bomb when they ahead of we not even think about that and try to subside down a bit. The bigger bomb is, human capital and human capacity. You remember during we 11 years civil war, we get a breakdown of school, going children. Most children were deprived of having access to school. because the war been intensifying at the district and regions. So that we are forced to drop out of school. And when the war come back to the city, almost a year or two, people will not be go to school again. So majority will not be able to continue again and drop out of school. So immediately we war been done, we now consider for establish adult literacy compulsory. So that then when they will drop along the line, they were able to catch up into the system. What we did to them is to informalize them, create garage dyeing, masoning, carpentry, auto mechanic. And now you want fit at this country, not a problem. Garage day all over. Even state house, you go to garage day. Barber shop day state house. Because when we produce barbing, cosmetology. The one way they do here saloon. Gutters and all you go to the fence saloon at this country. You know. You want bureaus, forget about that. You want 200 men there. You able to assemble them.
Yeah.
But if you get case for they assemble 200 lawyers, it's going to be a problem for you. If you want to assemble 200 nurses, qualified and well-trained nurses, it's going to be a problem for you. For gather 200 teachers, at a time, qualified and well-trained teachers, it's going to be a problem for you. So, and some of these guys are now in their 35, from 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. And in 3 years more, then they reach to the presidential age 40. 3, 4, 5, 6 years. They're going to be in their presidential age. So 2028, for let you appoint some people in a public place, it's going to be more difficult. You know why? Because we don't have those people who are qualified to manage those parastatals. And guess what? With population growth to get for go more high. And at the beginning we can the age don't reach 25 years to 35 years, we will culture for entrust and give them office. Why? Because that became them, the young folks. We hold that office with seriousness. We want them in their 30s, late 40s. So that time that's the time bomb. Watch out for 2028 and beyond. How we as a nation going to struggle because of that gap will be there. That's the time bomb. And we have not focused to build a middleman power who can, make adult illiteracy very compulsory. If you be know you don't go school, you don't study read and write, you don't get formal qualification, incentive then they for let you go back and learn. You learn, then they pay you. You're not doing good to this man, you're doing good to the state. Now, if you build the capacity of that man, we now really learn the power and everything. We are able to get a stronger nation for run the affairs of the nation. But we forget about that. Even these ghetto youths, when they talk about, they want them during the election, they want them during their campaign. But after that, now use them go there. They don't want to work. Who does they don't want to work? We all get passion for different things. You don't bring come factories and where they pay people there for work, where the incentive there. If you bring good company now, plenty man they resign for police and soldier and go work. Because why? It's not encouraging. They don't, salary schemes. People that never resign for police go join, private securities. Why? Because if you say that private security, then they pay more better than even the police.
Wow.
And they get more things than the police. And why you see people not motivated for being teacher in this country? You go to other countries, people they fight for join police. The incentives are where they do. People they fight for being teachers. Because you get, businesses the way they give discount even to teachers. The fact that say you give you SLTU card, something in the way they buy in this country, you forget 20% discount, 30% discount. In other countries where you're not a nurse, where you're not a doctor, where you're not a lawyer, you get discount. You get discount cards then. You get businesses where they approach you association and say, if we all buy now all get 20% discount. But people that were not to nurse, not to lawyer, not to teacher, they're not entitled to that discount. That's not going to make you losses. But we not get that culture now, for motivate, encourage people. They will want a better Sierra Leone. Why are we hypocrites?
Yeah. Another thing where I want to ask you is hold on one second. No,
How
just
many
get
minutes to them more?
very quick. Hold on one second. It seemed like we'll get another glitch again. Okay, now sorry, and now welcome back. Yeah, Mr. Fatomaa, what I want to ask you is that you aware of the waiting many go call refer to as the Pademba Roads massacre. So Sierra Leoneans go wonder if within you organization don't do wearing then go where then go run fair and credible investigation for know really what's in happen during the Pardember Road. Can you hear me, sir? You there hear me? Okay, so it
Yeah,
seems
I
like the
hear you.
system,
I
yeah.
slightly go up, but don't count. I hear
Wonderful,
you.
wonderful. So we're just curious as credible organization that you have, and you being the lead of that organization, you make any efforts in that area as to wherein then go get a credible and fair investigation regarding the Padembaro saga.
We will not put a press release and urge government for investigate, the shooting and also the destruction and the taking away of life, another Panemba Road saga. Um, we demanded an immediate investigation, but we not get anything from government yet. We be meet as an organization for take another follow-up approach. So sometimes what we can do a background, negotiation. I mean, inform government, say, oh, one, no, so then able for inform it and tell we say, oh, we don't on the process to do that. So that can slow we for long of pull a press release publicly demand. So then we can now be get the authority and say, even though we engage government several times privately for letting look into this matter, but up to now we're not able to get any matter yet. So sometimes in the as an organization you have to build your case. So when you come to the public, then go think say government will think say you they embarrass say they do that, but you have your sufficient evidence where they back say you exercise patience, you do your homework properly, you engage them, and after you don't engage them, all become fruitless. And now you want fruit of that your engagement. And that's the reason why you're going to the public and asking the public to be well known that this is what your government, we're responsible for protect you and promote you right. This is what they engage on. And they don't have an interest to protect your right. They don't have an interest to promote your right. So with that, why we say so? Because we say we've been engaged.
Yeah.
So now we have done one or two engagements, and the government promised us that they're going to look into it. So we have set another time frame. If they fail not looking into it to that time frame where they don't tell, then they come back to the public and tell us, so we do not engage XYZ in the government, in the issue of this Panambarossa. And they'll be promised we say, and we'll do this. And also then we pull press release to the public say then we'll do this. But nothing to that has been done. And then when they die, they are Sierra Leoneans. No matter what thing they may not do. Maybe some of them even have tried them in a wait for. They not ever found them guilty.
Yeah.
And even if found them guilty, found them guilty to sentence to death by gun firing.
Yes.
So if they die, in that kind of way, then we want to know why.
Yeah.
And it's not only about the killing of those people, but also the security breach will happen. If if really Panamba Road breaking be successful, we would have been talking about different things. And the security of this country is not for one political party, it's not for one man, it's for our lives in this country and all investment in this country. And so it's a public concern,
Yes.
and it isn't something needs to be treated seriously,
Absolutely.
And so we
So,
we with international partners and we're deeply concerned and worried about that, and we don't express that anger to government in we press release, and we don't express that in we two subsequent meetings.
wonderful. Thank you for the clarity. A quote written by me: "A nation that suppresses the voice of its citizen is doomed to fail woefully. It is a failed nation." How free is freedom of speech in the Republic of Sierra Leone from your perspective?
I mean, like, you know, I don't know when I can start for talk. I can talk all things before the conversation goes down. Good man. Remember, I tell you, we get this nonsense law.
Yes.
We don't use, we don't make no sense. We know the 1965 Public Order Act.
Right, right.
We say the truth is not a defense. You are guilty, and until you prove innocent. Not like you are innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
That's what that nonsense law does to us in this country. It's against us. And the very constitution that we have is also against us.
Could it
So,
possibly be
Your
that?
freedom of expression,
Mhm.
your freedom of expression is not guaranteed. It's
Okay,
not.
okay.
I mean, probably they're looking with bad there, say we're not going to hold you now, but we'll wait for you. But you express anything, government got the right to hold. And then get the law where them go side. You cannot say it's illegal. It's legal because there is a law. So until we remove that law and bring a comfortable law, we guarantee people freedom of expression, people freedom of association, people freedom of assembly. Because people look only at freedom of expression, with freedom of association, with freedom of assembly. It depends on which kind of assembly. It's highly threatening. It's highly threatening. It depends on which kind of association. Your association could be as well be threatening. If you're not a popular figure, you will serve a threat as to the ruling party. Then you associate yourself with people the way that they are against. That association, the way you get when you write, I mean, it's gonna be curtailed. They will go after you. They will start creating problems. They will start sending boys after you. How many girlfriends you don't lay down with? If you married, how many women you don't both with? How many people you don't born? If you be go school, how many times you fail at that school? They will bring all those things. As if they say there any benefit towards moving the country forward, the country social economy forward, the country a broken justice system forward, the country broken health system forward, the country broken employment system forward. It's keep going on. But they want to say how many what are the kind of boxer where the man they wear, what are the kind of girls where the woman they wear. They will come up with all those things. And you get a sicker factor in this country. That's the only time they will contact you. But somebody you don't hear you, they don't call you again at that audio. But then good thing about me, they will never share it. Like very recent, a group, from the ruling party make audio they cost me. Two things in their audio. And you have people who have never contacted me, who have never have concern about my health, who have never got a concern about my welfare or how am I doing in this country. So I sending me that nonsense audio. And I said to them, why do you want me to listen to it? The memorable me knows that they cost every day for me sake.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know that they cost me every day. I mean, so I care less about that. You go ahead and cost. What do you know they cost you? And the thing about the organization will not ever publish any story without evidence.
Yeah.
If we don't drop more than the cases where we don't publicize, then we don't drop cases then. So many. People can do corruption there and that. I get news about this person. I get story about this person. And this person, I said, with the evidence. I said, now this is for evidence. If I go to jail or I go to court, say you don't you sleep fine one. They worry me, beginning of the glory. The new character and not that me. But then you rather use this for address you. Then you satisfy that I don't go after the one way you hate.
Yeah.
This not so evident. Wait.
Yes.
And then go away.
Yeah.
I cannot name big names in this country. The previous administration, this administration, people bring forward things that were not really, like jealous, like just emotion
Yeah.
they use. But they want that person to be blackmailed.
Yeah.
They want that person to be in a public bad light. The
Embarrassed.
evidence with the time very scanty. So you were there, matured, you use light emotion because people that never don't hurt me very deeply. They bring issues against them. But there was no fact in those issues. When I denied an individual, they say, you today, I get respect for you, this one and next one.
Yeah.
I said, why? They said, that kind of person, now you they talk person. I said, listen, he do that, maybe you don't know me.
Right.
So you want to do against me. But if you know me, I'm not thinking he go do that.
Right.
I said, but it doesn't mean because he hate me, he for hater.
Yeah.
So there's no way I can use this information because it lack evidence.
Yeah.
You know that threshold will beat me level.
Yeah.
Or really go out there. So now when we challenge you with something, trust me, I can learn in life for that.
So I know over the years I don't ask you on this. I'm so sorry for coming. Over the years I don't ask you of this where at some point there was a lot of concern you being a strong civil society activist, and like how you say you basically from the previous government to now you still hold both accountable, but at some points when they see you in the clothing of the Sierra Leone People's Party colors right by the side of the First Lady, so there was a lot of concern were raised, and of course I reach out to you and hear you on side before I conclude. So take that opportunity again now and address the audience on that one.
that was a dead issue.
Yeah.
From the very day the issue raising all we had because the bill it did not really get any merit.
Right.
Like even the defense statements where I be put out.
Yeah.
I been in Geneva.
Okay.
They attended UN Human Rights Council meeting. I became a friend. We are still friends.
Yeah.
She was very close to State House, and he belonged to one of the top secret State House WhatsApp group. So when this picture came, in discourse, there was, people that were being respectful of the previous government. They tagged me, say me they destabilize this country, and now it's the opportunity for go after me and discredit me. After we then write to United Nations, even say let UN drop the UN accredited status because me na SIPP agent, not a non-civil society. But UN never listen there because UN know me credibility, and then that individual got back to me and said, get ready. He said they want to pull a picture with you and Fatomaa way SFPP. I said no, that picture did not get any SFPP logo. I said if the SFPP logo there, they apologize to the people of Sierra Leone and deliberate and then may step aside for things I get so much passion for. As a professional for that UK or any other part. I work for UN Global Compact. I resign, for CAM, just work with civil society. That means say there is a vacuum and I need somebody else need to fill that vacuum and stand up.
Well said.
I said I will resign. I said I will resign and go back, to the trade. So
thank you for
I challenge the person on.
Okay.
So the person go look that t-shirt. They go look the t-shirt, they don't see a SFPP logo. They said, but mother being faced today. I said, yes. I said, they invite me, on the fundraising, and then they ask me for make a talk, as a somebody we know Sierra Leone governance and political, and participation for encourage women then for come forward and participate in the upcoming election, we get for candidates with them. And I serve as a guest speaker. I get my invitation letter. And you will see that say I be wear my jacket, but I pull my jacket and ordinary shirt when I been in talk the shirt me on me. I be even come on one other event that very day. With the other organization where I been serve as a consultant for Journey to Justice.
Yeah.
I been do presentation. I still get them pictures of it. Where the name tag all left for me, they on around necktie. when I pass for that other function. So I say, 100%, clean about that. I said, this is not a thing to worry me. But people like you and so many other people keep calling me in an hotel room in Geneva, telling them I'm not they react until I get back to London. Who said the evidence day?
Yeah.
And that evidence that they reply with. Another reply, then the evidence not there. The evidence was the letter of invitation. Then the UK law for charity say, you dey attend political function, but that not for be humane activity.
Right.
Then I continue challenging people in this country. Say, if you're able to bring her forward the SLPP party card, the SLPP contribution, then this all will make me resign. But nobody will even put money to 50 million to 70 million. All the one the way they accuse me, they were just like blackmailing me.
Okay.
They have no clue.
Great.
Great. And no evidence absolutely for support those things.
Yeah.
So maybe don't forget about that thing, because one thing about this very government now when they say are doing, this very government now, they more hate me and discomfort with me probably than the other one. Then the only thing they don't lock me into, but I get several threats to win and don't go arrest her. But then they never go arrest me. Because I know that the previous one and they arrest me, they make more say, they will keep me for lifetime. They hold me one day, the next day, now them big say Mr. Fatomaa can't come up. But the international pressure will be there on them. It was so heavy. Within that moment, Yahoo News, with over how many billion readers, don't publish that. London Mail, Black Star, Ghana, newspaper, Uganda, Kenya, South Africa, AFP News, now France. All of these people then cover Italy. If today you search for that arrest, it was covered, widely in the international media. And so it was a huge concern. But let government get such a scandal. And BBC World Service, BBC focus on Africa, VOA, they all cover such a news, so
I think I'm glad the way you make the clarity, because for me, being friend of you outside of here, you've been, that was a concern too. I reach out to you, whatever the case may be. But now, similarly to what you did say, as I had the great conversation the other day with Daddy Saj, and back then, obviously, one of the music way take we on international level corruption, and basically at that time, not only did he win international, but the government at that time they encourage him for even becoming an ambassador where they speak against corruption. So meaning the government, which is it was then Tijan Kaba government, you understand, wherein they're not basically attack him or say, oh, then go, how you call him, then go carry and go in a tight corner or whatever the case may be. But now we see so much of that now. Do you think, say, it's a hope for the future, wherein whether it is the journalist them or the musician them, then go able to get freedom of speech to that extent as that compared to the era of Daddy Saj, where be able to get that kind of respect there, then be embrace them, they make the ambassador for speak on the damage of corruption.
Let me tell you, even the Daddy Saj era where you want to celebrate, it should not be celebrated.
No, not celebrating it, but I bring an example.
No, we're not.
Of
where
we
go.
Yeah.
Making even an example. An era.
Mm-hmm.
That was the same era. Then we lost, Harry Ansane as a journalist.
Okay.
In killing was done motivated by politicians.
Wow.
That was the same era. Paul Kamara and others were constantly detained.
Wow.
For expressing their views in this country.
Oh,
That was the same era. Musicians, some of the musician boys who were not famous, they were locked up, and they were having a constant harassment. You remember jungle leaders who then say price control, this will go down, Why some of the artists and by then during that Decide era went to United States and seek asylum and saying that they are not free. The Pupa Badgers and all this. you know, and yeah, I mean, constantly they were having that fear
Yeah.
because politicians think that they are not in their favor, they are against them, they are in for a regime change,
Hmm.
and so on and so forth. Why do you think Embassy keep hiding most of the time for people hit song in
Yeah.
that very era back where Bobo Bele, it was so tense for him, and the other era until we change we lost.
Yes.
We lost the way to be able to accommodate we as a citizen, or speak freely with responsibility, for assemble freely with responsibility, or associate freely with responsibility, until we have such laws that can guarantee us that. But if we don't have those laws, my sister, forget about it. We'll continue having the same chilling moment. As I speak to you now, I mean, city ministers, whether deputy ministers or substantive ministers, they have threatened me not once, not twice, even under this administration.
Yeah.
Police officers, military personnel, they have threatened me. The only thing that I've worked responsibly. The moment I offer my office because I'm not saying the security a problem, and then sign me post.
Yeah.
If I dey go jog na sant and day broad light, I know make Leonard meet me.
Yeah.
Then I return. I'm not a coward, but then I'm just mindful of a society where we're very, very devilish.
Sad.
But then I'm telling you that a set of people will get a freedom. No, if you ask Thomas more, me and the police officer will make blabber. I said, listen, this is wrong for arrest this man. He's innocent. Are you charging him very, innocently? And this is a reckless behavior.
Yeah.
And then all that news go around that oh Fatomaa Lukana APC it's not for look Fatomaa, because this government anybody don't know, we don't know what to do and whether we not get a minister, we not do the I get not Bible so I get experience, working experience, I get qualification more than most of ministers and most directors.
Yes.
And I can perform well. No places them where I don't work, I left them with meritorious award from leadership.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well
So I mean,
Thank
if
you
I want for going to politics, I sabi talk. So politics let us listen.
Like
And I'm
that.
humble, and I'm humble.
Yeah.
And politics want somebody who humble. With all I don't mingle with several head of states, UN Secretary General, AU Secretary General, ECOWAS Secretary General, ECOWAS commissioners, different head of state. I don't get several awards, but never use them against my name.
Yeah.
I only use if you follow me through Facebook and other social media, Abdul Fatomaa or AMF. That's what you hear.
Yeah.
Only my school friends call me Fatoms. I mean that's it. But then me sometimes say, oh Abdul Fatomaa or AMF.
Yeah.
If you write Abdul Fatomaa, I get annoyed. I always want the M to be there. Yeah. I mean that means you recognize me fully. You don't recognize me
halfway.
as a
I like that.
We're not so jelly.
So I know, right? When a president indirectly asks, when a president indirectly asks journalists to vacate from a very important meeting as that of the international bodies, what does that say to the world from your perspective?
I mean, like we need to be honest and be sincere. So if we don't attend global sessions, yeah. For example, we did part of the UN body, UN ECOSOC. But certain UN meetings and we not just an observer, we know they participate. Then certain deliberations side of it, then they say all UN observing status organization now gonna do. Then when they left the ministers or the head of state, they deliberate what they want to deliberate at bilateral level. We don't need sessions where they say we want all the media's people to go out. Then go out. I don't present how you call this place, Chatham House. I don't present a Bond International. I don't present a ODI. I mean, these are global think tanks. So certain presentations, and even a civil society thing with government, they ask the media to leave. because what they want for discuss at that moment is not newsworthy. For them, they regard and say, no, no, something for let news talk about, and they don't want a news coverage about that. The session where they be one for let news cover, and that session they then call the news people. But the problem we have, we don't get good communication expert then, where they work for government, where they really come out first and tell people there about this. Maybe some they are good, but they are arrogant. They want the layman we don't understand. Go ahead and figure out for yourself. But that's not the way. You're a public person. You owe the public an explanation. You have to come and explain to the public and cite examples. Several meetings, government after government, even government that were not democratic, the one that were democratic, they do that. Even in Washington, they do similar thing. There are certain sessions that will call journalists, and then that session they say, after this session, we want the media to leave.
Okay. So basically, that's
we want to have a conversation because we don't want this under the camera. We don't want this under the microphone. We want this to remain here and live with us. But then you have to have people to say that. I mean, for me, based on my own wider international experience, I don't attend sessions na UN General Assembly na New York. I don't attend sessions na Washington, Brussels, na EU Commission and the EU Parliament, the Geneva, the Human Rights Council, the Human Rights Forum, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So we don't get instructions then,
I think
we
that
can ask international media like BBC, CNN to leave the hall.
Right. So I think that they're in place with giving clarity to the audience. But then again, then go say, okay, if that's the case for them particular meeting and they would not want media coverage, then how come them be once wearing the president's been they showcase in your side, and then when it comes to now to the respond part of the the international body, then look and say that they drive then come out. That's maybe where the concern come in place maybe for many Sierra Leoneans. I don't know if it in place.
I'm gonna be restrained for elaborate much on that.
Right.
The genuine reason being is this. I know it's very difficult for I watch local programs in this country.
Yeah.
Or listen to local program or even read local newspapers.
Okay.
Sometimes I can turn television on, I turn it off. Because the presenter, the moderator, or the guest there, then they praise government more than how government the presents.
Yeah. And
these people are supposed to be neutral, supposed to be independent, but they are more praising government. And you look at newspaper, is the speech where minister say that no more. They go beyond and analyze and bring the gaps, and really tell people say, okay, yes, government they do well, but look at the challenges. The challenges do more than what they don't do, or they don't do much. They don't left close for letting. It's all about praising the first in history, the first ever, the this ever, the that ever. If you want to hear that ever, first ever, just tune in into our radios and read our newspapers.
Yeah.
It's all about the first ever, the this ever, the that ever, the this ever. You can get a serious,
radio,
conversation, serious education. We buy newspaper at the West, like when I be the study law in England. The Guardian newspaper and be one of the newspaper where we lecture be subscribed. So we buy the Guardian newspaper every Wednesday because senior lawyers then when accused citizens, then they write article, and then they write on international relations and charities, on the newspaper then. So students in the whole it's like a textbook, for learn again new things. But that is not in our case in this country. Something where you don't see 3 days on social media, you buy on a newspaper. So what am I going to buy? Such a crap. Where I even, share down on my WhatsApp or I give a block to on my Facebook. Why do I need to spend my little leons on that one?
Absolutely.
So
Makes
that
sense.
can prevent me sometimes, not all cases, but sometimes not for listening.
Yes.
We look at radios and we look at television.
So the
And
credibility,
we look at newspaper.
question the
So
credibility.
like I say, if the president really, because the sessions the middle attend with head of state then, when they ask media them out, or other diplomats when they ask media them out, they already don't inform the media say this session is open to the public, but the next session is a closed session meeting.
Okay.
Put together.
Yes.
Put a public hearing and a closed session hearing.
Right.
So you don't tell the media already say these sessions, from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock is an open session.
Yes.
Well, from 11 o'clock to 11:30
that's a private.
Is the closed session because a 1 hour 30-minute meeting. So we have two intervals. The first interval, which is 1 hour, we don't spend much time, is a public one. But the second segment is a private. So that would have been communicated with the media. So then they in that preparation, so we go there for 1 hour. But after some man don't begin to promote the thing don't sweet and then they pack the camera come on at them. They come out there to gone to an end say they don't let me do. Whether Jenny or no Jenny. I mean,
now,
I understand they can't because people who supposed really to do the professional things fails to do that.
Yes.
So then you expect a lot of speculations, a lot of doubt.
Yes.
And, a lot of puzzles to fix.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's it. But,
so now,
I said, I don't know much about that meeting planning. I don't attend meeting back at State House. I wonder why that not be publicized. When I call the civil society leaders there, that's if I was having problem because when I say civil society leader, not all civil society then they recognize. And believe say some people then, the way they talk, they're not there for them, so they're not going to include them there. So they were not there. You see other people the way more they associate themselves, and waiting. So some of us maybe not by luck, we are there or whatever reason, but
so now
then the journalists then back say one for talk a frank talk with civil society. So now one all the media left here. And the media was happy to leave without really publicizing. Is it because we not a diplomat and we not ambassadors? Maybe they not publicize and they backstage and they get them in a State House. But when they bailed and so then left the lodge one, but then it was all over. I mean, we have to be
respect
very
of our own first. Yes.
No, it's not only respect. Let's be mindful
of the message.
Saying things with emotion.
Yeah.
I mean, waiting day by international, we're not day by the local.
Yeah.
So I mean, they asked journalists out in that meeting. I mean, I can tell you that authoritatively. But why journalists do not come out and talk, say, during the civil society meeting with government? But those frank talk, like my own question, like I mean, two other civil society leaders, they interviewed them on that meeting after that. And so some man and they talk tough, they talk hard, they really talk hard. And then, but I know that, I mean, yeah, but some don't want to call my name. But me, I'm not ever afraid for talking. I talk very hard. I talk very hard. And I was branded as antagonist, after that meeting. And I said, you shouldn't serious. Antagonist. I mean, you have to find another
far away
one.
from that. So many will agree that when a leader plays double standard, he does not only loses his or her own integrity, but also his or her credibility. A great example, our sitting president during his time as an opposition, he urged his supporters to social media, specifically Facebook and WhatsApp, to carry out messages especially for the attention of the international world. Now that he's in the same position as that of the then president, Dr. Ines Baikorma, he's using the power of his office to silence, muzzle, arrest, reprimand, detain, intimidate Sierra Leoneans for doing the same thing. He recommended during this time as during his time as an opposition. What's your take on that? I should say you don't see that video. They circulating various social media platform where we sit in presidents. They say during the time where basically they sit on the opposite end saying that they make use of the every social media platform, especially WhatsApp or Facebook, because now they carry the message to the international world. So when you look at that, and then you see the things that when they go on, still they hold people accountable for put them behind bar for the same thing where even they basically urge Sierra Leone or encourage them to do. What do you think about that? Many Sierra Leoneans will look at it as a double standard. But what do you think? Should he still reprimand people for waiting if they don't encourage them or tell them say it's okay to do, or should he just free all those people where them they don't put under that category of the libel law? Come back in, sir.
One thing like I can say, when you look at politicians globally and locally, there's no political leader we know to double standard person. That I can tell you. Anybody we want for clean any politician, they get a personal feeling for that politician who is in a million person and other man molest and a public. But if you that is not be politician, you don't hold political office. I can tell and say me that they get double standards. But politicians, the nature, the culture, the behavior, the attitude, it's about double standard. Now only politicians they talk with inside this room. And by the time that the commander doing what's don't change, they even deny say they not be named with you in that room. Not only he talk with you in that room, but then even now when he did with you in the room, now not to go talk. So he go deny clearly and blatantly say he not be named with you in that room.
I think that's fair enough.
So
how can
I mean for we go say that's a double standard. Politicians are double standard people.
Okay.
They hate lie, but then they lie past anybody. The type of politicians, they hate you, they discomfort with you.
Yeah.
But when in the lie, it won't let you accommodate them and accept them. So that alone is a double standard.
Absolutely. So how can government succeed?
And then when you come to, during the Chroma administration, we organization will be one organization we criticize. One thing what we did do. We not the right APC. We say the government of Australia. Because a party they change and can't pick up administration. The government remain. Administration will change by political party. So we've been non-tag that thing to international level. And I make you see even with this government they don't struggle for muscle social media, come up with laws. But they look at with 1 year open, 1 year lock. Because we get still hang up for a put we hammer down on. So but then coming back, arresting people who says what this are one country we don't get electronics law. So but they still use the same 1965 for most start this program 1 or 2 hours ago now. Yes. We don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And then bad laws we they're comfortable with it. Because within a country that a revenge politics we get, not a progressive and developed politics.
Yeah.
You go support political party in this country or send this country backwards, not over send this country forward. Because the sympathy we create, we cry for political party, it's all about bringing us backward. Because when young political party come back, let we do them because I saw them they do it. In fact, we for do more past themselves. That's just the same thing going on. Tell me what will really change.
So how can any government succeed if they lack the ability to bring unity amongst its citizens? Tribalism and party politics may have existed since we gained independence, but why is it far worse with this current administration? What is your take on that?
Anybody tell we say we are not deeply divided as a nation, as a community, as a family. It deceives you big time. But the same dishonesty among we as a nation continue for divide we more deeper and deeper. And the insincerity coming that one national cohesion, one social cohesion, the very people in our society will for stand for we and protect we. They are the very people who connive with government and be against us. The very religious leaders we need for be a moral guarantor These are the very leaders who can go to state house, government after government, and say, "Pa, one who can tell you 10K and pray for you how you dey rule this country, how you dey govern it." I mean, they know that their church members or their mosque members are struggling with jobs. Some have been kicked out of jobs. Some even don't get food for it. But if they're going around mosques for pray to Allah, for let God provide for. They're going around church for let Jesus and of God provide for, so that it will waiting for. But in pastor way in the heap offering for, in imam where they heap offering for. They dress very fine and go to president, not men there, we will straight them. Just give you no more the support. Now with people that we will talk to them. If they know why you say you're a good man at this country, we will make them understand. And these are the people who are supposed to look presidents in their eyes. They're not even president, the other president, and bad will be non pass them president, and look at the intelligence and say, Mr. President, I think if you they do well, but some of you ministers they know they do well. Suffering they. If you they do well, some of you ministers or your political parties, and they continue for divide we and separate we more. And they continue for sure say we don't belong to this tribe, we don't come on at this region. So we know what any facility in this country. But not to so the law say, even God say war for leave one. And even the Bible and the Quran say, love your neighbor, love yourself as you love your neighbor, love your neighbor as you love yourself. We that care for one another. But when they want the way for stand tall for we, sell themselves very cheap, very low, and then we left harmless, and the few civil society leaders who champion this thing, calling things by their name, they become enemy number one for the state. And the same people the way they fed for them, when you this civil society and they fed for. The same people connive against this civil society people, call them evil, call them all kind of name, and want to see, them, passed away. They don't want to see them alive. I mean, these are the dishonesty, the insincerity. Until we make up with mind as a country, whatever political party come in power, when Chroma been there, people say it don't become the worst president and government we don't divide with ever. Now beyond can it don't become other people perception say it don't become the worst ever we don't divide with. When Kaba been there, other people say, based on their own perception, it don't divide with, it don't become the worst ever president. So when are we going to have this president that is no worse for some certain category of people? And when you look at religion generally, those who are benefiting, these are the best government for them as far as they're concerned. And those who are suffering will be perceived say they are in the majority. But then this is the worst government. And that's happened in the same administration. Like some people will tell you, say, since APC is in power, they are not there because me are there. But that's wrong. But because another northerners they be there, since APC be in power, they are from the north. They never get a job. You get me?
Yes.
So, like I tell you earlier on, say something and even somebody, jam me small. I'm not from the name. I make the kind jam me, they can attack jam me as well. We do so much emotional with things.
Yeah.
We don't want to be sincere with ourselves until we have to come together as a nation. Like I can tell people, say the greatest successful civil rights leaders when we celebrate today, some people don't see them people don't do. Not all Peking they talk about, or all young man, even the Black Lives Movement, where they holla, we see Martin Luther King alive. Or we they alive, Martin Luther King they alive. Not all man na India, they fight for Indians and right. We see Mahatma Gandhi alive. Not all South Africans today where they holla, freedom in South Africa. We be seeing Nelson Mandela alive.
Right.
But when you look at the character of those people, they never fight their battle with emotion. They fight their battle with wisdom. I'm not join a group of people who say, oh, let's come back. Let's come back. This. No. If you look, we report them. What will they pull? And what will they pull now? We don't name names. We name the government of radio. Because power na a borrow status. If you there, you feel say, I mean, that's at the end of July, you joking. Like borrow status. And then they tell the people in the route you they back and bring another person. So they
Yes.
just borrow you say they. So
Absolutely.
and you know,
So
when
that's
you then at this space, civil society space, or you then at space where you for be a moral guarantor, where they swim so the one man swim so they swim. Sometimes they I can then a room, one man they go one way, I stand one way. They say Fatomaa one, I say I don't believe in that ideology. They say which way you believe in I say. The one way I don't say that they say why you see that trouble. Just for let them go deflate. Why don't deflate? I don't get deflated by that.
yeah.
You know what? At the end of the day, they come back to me and say, "Oh, you are right. I left you business. You know, man, you want to that you die." I'm not looking for crowd. I'm not looking for celebration.
Well, a true
I
leader.
don't do things with
Yes.
emotion.
That's a true.
You know, like if today I would have not been talking, maybe now if I don't be the one of the most cheerleader for say APC was useless, APC was this, APC was that. No, I'm not. If you carry something, who said them be do well, I praise them and do well. When they know say they're not able to me any longer, most of the things we suggest to them, they implement it. All the few that were against them that there no way they can do it, it will bring embarrassment to them. And even I myself are not good back.
Yes. Well
You
stated.
know?
So the Tombo saga, the government's decision to send men in uniform to open live bullets that caused the life of another Sierra Leonean. What's your take on that? And also, I want to say, we platform recognize or commend the effort of AIG Memuna for her great leadership skill in trying to educate our guarantors, those whom are assigned to protect the lives of Sierra Leoneans and properties. Many still they wonder, say, if not all, the president is in safe for don't they take such role or such example in efforts to save lives and promote national cohesion. What's your take on that? The Tombo saga and the step where AIG Memuna take where it give warning or advise the policeman them for say not to so enough for the take enough for the handle then citizen there na so like a combra advice.
AIG Memuna, a very disciplined police officer. And looking the interaction with she appeared to be a genuine and hardworking and sincere person. And the good thing about, I mean, she is one of my fans. She loved me so much.
Okay.
And she is so much proud of me. I remember I met with the police management board and she was excited in seeing me in that room for the very first time. And she come around and go, "Oh, I don't know what to say. I don't see you on television. I don't see you, I don't listen to you on radio. I don't read a lot of things on newspaper. So I like the kind man. And when we go straight to, when we go straight to the meeting, and when I be so much brutal and frank with the police, and when the meeting does say you never ever change. He said this I like. He said even you there at the midst of the senior policeman. But if you are soldier man can't sit down here, the truth I want to tell her, even a president can't sit down here. They are the telling the truth. I said the only thing we order say na kill him. And then when they kill him, you don't know. I said, but then and that's the end of it. But like I tell you before, we police then need a professional training.
Yes,
We
absolutely.
police then need a role model within the police force. For majority of the police boss, then they are not a role model. They are not good example to the junior police officers. So I can tell you, with no hesitation, they can do whatever they want to do with me. That's their own business.
Wow.
But they are not good, as a good example. And peace and national cohesion is everybody's responsibility. Citizens go demand say yes, you need the president to take a role because not a father. We in our home, we want for lady that it be and bright an example, than be a follower. It's not like a priest, our father, like repeat after me. I mean, that's what we want, to see in our homes. And we want that reflection also at national level. So mostly, yes, president, and maybe there's some sick of fun that we will say, not all side president need for go, not all two president need for say that. A president I'm not a man like me and you too. Different, calm down, interact with you to,
Yeah.
we also not to every day, but that one's on the work or out one. I mean, we need some of their example. So, but this country we see with political leaders and as a big God, even
Yeah.
past Papa God who know they see
God
for a
forbid.
miracle, then they change your life and what is it. So, I mean, sincerity and honesty. And I don't tell you about this word. I will lie.
Yeah.
We need to get that for move this country forward.
Absolutely.
The leaders them around president, the followers them around president, then the state president after president. If you go ask an Esproma today, they say, I regret about some of the sycophants, the hypocrites,
Mm-hmm.
and deceitful people that will be there around you. They gonna tell you that.
Absolutely.
Because most of them they enjoy their life for. They don't ever tell them the truth. You will give a rightful information. We go promote that individual. We go,
Mm-hmm.
President, what do you think? I don't know what you think. Oh, I want to do this. That idea no more be sit down at host. I think about that. Lie that somebody get and say like yeah. They never give you credit.
Oh boy.
That's how the idiots behave. That's how the idiots behave.
Sycophants, yes. So before you go
So
to
anyway, I mean, we have spent some good time
yeah.
on this one.
I want to give you two more questions before you go. But before you go and answer the one with the Tombo saga, I want to also talk about the impress, which suggests the president should not give account on his spending or not check and balance necessary. Many will look at such as a premeditated or well calculated effort towards corruption or embezzlement. What's your take on that?
This again comes to poor information, and educational problem. It's a public education, public awareness. It's more heavier than anything. Donald Trump in the US, Queen Elizabeth, Boris Johnson, and others, they all have impress. Yeah? But then, some of even the so-called impress who they talk about, if they understand, say, Salon President go with an one hotel, he spend $150,000. They go nearly Wale Buhari na run and beat Then if we na Salon know say, will president go na hotel just one bottle water na £5,000 or $5,000 just for one bottle. Some hotels and they, yeah.
Wow.
Where just a bottle of water, cost that amount. And then just a meal, they run to them $15,000 or £7,000. We get several of them hotels in the big city, Berlin, New York, Washington, and that of London and Paris, Geneva. We get some hotel and they with no discrimination. And they even tell you say no. They look at you, they look at your budget. Because just one night, now then $5,000.
Wow.
Place sleeping. Just one great night. Then when you think about it, just for let you get a bed, it's costing me 5,000. What is a meal? Even the $100 or $200 hotel they hold the lodge. If we go there say we get meal on we own, and they run close to we room bill. So then when they go back close to forget a group of leaders, head of state, some business lobbies and the way you want forget. You not go get for treat them with hamburger, KFC hamburger or McDonald's hamburger. You get for spend very heavy funds. Forget that one and they forget some lucrative deals and we go kind of country. But then, if the one that way they want for make fun fear say the president is an accountable president, then when they come to the reality now, you say, no, we get impressed, we will know for what you said. Then that brings the misunderstanding, miscommunication with the public. That is the reality. But then all other expenditures of the president needs to be known to the public.
Yeah.
But some impress, I'm telling you, in some states they don't declare. I don't know where the America ever Obama in time when I'm one of the most transparent leader, they ever publish Obama in impress. It's not possible.
Okay.
It not get for
But
possible.
can we
Because
can we also
you know
agree
what?
that?
It creates anger within citizens.
Okay.
Because you remember people in they die here with starvation, health system broken, then maybe the just that one night session when president get with one president, it don't spend over $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
And for just meet say, I don't meet with this world leader, I don't meet with this. Then that $200,000 it able for transform that rubbish structure where dem go get na Kube wey dem say na health center, wey no get bed, wey no get refrigerator, wey no get chair for let patient dem sit down. The nurse in toilet system not good, water no dey run there, but that $200,000 for don fit for fix dem thing. You think say if that publish na international newspaper or local newspaper, wetin go be the reaction at this country?
Yeah.
Even countries like Nigeria and all that, you dare not go to some of them today because it cause internal commotion. But it comes to the communication, the communication.
Yeah.
If you look from with prime minister before they go presidency, which one they will publish their impress. No can locally now for country to accountability. So I mean, for the fact that say the Minister of Finance will put that particular thing that the budget, if the president really be serious for manage this country very well and well, and think say that finance minister is serious, if I don't fire her,
Thank you so
if
much.
I don't fire her,
I think say I don't exhaust you time today, and I appreciate you so much. We'll get more time. We'll go do more. So I want to take this opportunity for tell you plenty thank you on behalf of the entire team here, and also as usual, I'm very much concerned about the youth. So what you go say to the youth and Sierra Leonean? What's going to be your last advice before we call it quits?
forgive one music way we sponsor.
Yeah.
Where we play for young people.
Well, please do. Oh, for now we'll play them. I don't know. Okay, next time, eh? If you did, we'll play them.
I will come play them.
Yes,
I guess
please.
Maybe I guess I'm a system. So maybe that would have I really forget if you draw youth business to me. By now we don't go far with maybe that alone don't give you an insight for talk about youth and then suffering. But let me just give you and the listeners and this.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Vital message. Making all you basic rights. And that we know waiting we auto. And that we let less must provide. So many youth face many obstacles in order to know their rights. And that we use we voice for difference. Then see that we go keep we fight. So many people are marginalized. Many people are deprived. So many people are marginalized. Many people are deprived. So you if you say you are down with no human rights don't come for we. So you if you say you are down with no human rights don't come for we. Effectiveness depend on me.
I think so your connection they go in and out. I don't know if you hear me still.
I hear you.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, go ahead.
You stand in front of the right of yes, they will always cause the problem. For many people are marginalized, many people are deprived. For many people are marginalized, many people are deprived. Say you if you say you are down with no hope, human rights don't come for we. Say you if you say you are down with no hope, human rights don't come for we. Effectiveness.
Bluetooth connected.
Effectiveness depend on me. Depend on me. Fundamental elements for social change, for social cohesion. We need to understand. So much complexity, accountability, a youth capacity, affecting society, my obligation and duty, food security, me right and identity, basic amenities, all them things charity can always preach in civil yoke and the world at large. Many young people face many obstacles in their transition from childhood to adulthood, mainly due to lack of access to education and employment. For young people growing up in marginalized and depressed situations, the challenges are even greater as violent conflict impacts negatively on all dimensions of their lives. These challenges cannot be ignored. Young people are growing in numbers across the world, and in many developing countries, they make up the majority of the population. Our activeness as development actors depends on our capacity to understand the complexity of youth in the broader context of their societies. See how many of them are the manifestos where they do just fitting they say. The past is the suffer, they sit up with the better. I tell you, me brother, not to play. See where they want the power, they visit the ghettos. My brother, I guess see okay. It's high time we make a change. My politics not infiltrate. Message from the Campaign for Human Rights and Development International. Charlie.
Oh wow,
So,
excellent. So basically,
yeah,
that in a form you organization.
yes. That now we message to young people them as
Wonderful,
reunion that
wonderful.
the change and development with them they think about
Yeah,
it depend on them, and then also during election they see that political parties then they go down at the ghetto. But how many of them political parties after where they don't gain power, lost power, you know,
when it
talk
come back
waiting
in.
the manifesto say or do waiting the manifesto say. So let them not allow politics to infiltrate them. Let them think about that. If you think you let Sudan politics take over you, the question they ask, are you okay? Are you actually okay? Because Sudan politics overwhelm you. And when time can they abandon you. And say the transition from your childhood to youthful age, it becomes challenging. Why? Because unemployment high. And unemployment has always been on the manifesto of all political parties. But then they have never addressed that issue very strongly and keenly, passionately. So we try to put that message to people. If we share that on WhatsApp, less people share it. But if you hear it at the customer because they will share that one, the least man at the village will better. But a sense it's a very good message like this. People don't share it, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Wonderful, well stated. Thank you so much. I know say you don't do more than well today, and they look forward to another meeting next time around. Thank you on behalf of the entire team here for your time where you take today for honor the invitation.
All right. Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Mr. Fatomaa. Having said that, I will take this opportunity for tell we audience plenty thank you for when I take time for joining we back today in our thank you without after God without Ina. There's no Salon for All Voice for All Network Television. And all the top fans then in our they share and they take time for partake. And we will also improve. We look forward for improve on reading the WhatsApp messages them from we correspondent. Then they all that team will they work on. Having said that, and I thank you. Now we always remember we team bind we together. We're not the green, white, and blue. Until next time, this is not the Salon for All, Voice for All Network Television. I am your host, Khadija Tijan Nabi. God bless we all and God bless the Republic of Sierra Leone. Bye.